All right, hello everyone and welcome to our Project Terra Gamedev stream. I'm Felix aka Luxen, I will do the game development, and with me in the voice chat today are Henne aka Geflügel, Stefan aka Regidan, and Flora aka Tiflora.
That's true.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Right, and today we will work on a new ranged weapon in Terra. Well, that is not exactly precise because I've already worked on a ranged weapon and it's already roughly working, but we will add a new feature to this weapon today, and I will talk more about this later. For now, we got a subscription by Flora, our most how do you say? I forgot the word. Our
biggest subscriber.
Biggest subscriber of Radical Fish Games, Flora, saying for the 44th furthering of my famous sub, I wish for 4 fours from viewers, not 40 fours. Okay, from Flora. That's a lot of 4. Okay, thanks a lot, Flora. And we got another subscription by EL20202, who just leaves 3 smug layers. Nice.
L.
Okay.
L2?
We also have music. Let unpause.
Yes. And I still need to very quickly post a Discord thingy.
Yes, that would be nice. Because I never notify.
And add everyone.
You would think like with the stream, with the event thing, everybody would notice, but you know. Henne has to leave, like, do his official stream joke, so I guess.
Yeah, it's very important.
It's very important, yeah.
So come over and okay. Come on over and shoot a question.
Yes.
Can I make a chakram pun?
You spoiled the new weapon, but yeah.
Oh, wait, I didn't.
God damn it, Hannah.
Never mind. I was gonna show it next anyway. So yeah, about the stream basics.
The fan favorite weapon.
Yeah.
From the critically acclaimed RPG.
You mean the critically acclaimed RPG Secret of Mana?
The critically acclaimed RPG Vampire Stone.
I mean, let's be honest. Leia was fighting with chakrams as a melee weapon. The thing she was throwing was more like energy balls, even though some people thought those were chakrams, but you know, now Project Terra will actually have chakrams as a range weapon, and I'll show this next.
It's actually from the critically acclaimed TV drama series Xena, the Warrior Princess.
Oh, yeah,
no, it's actually inspired by the critically acclaimed remake of the Devil May Cry's game called DMC.
Run DMC?
Capital D Devil May Cry. Which also, I think it had a shotgun weapon, right?
But I hear that those games are bad because they are different and Dante has different hair.
Yes.
Chakrams are from Xenoblade 3, you know? What?
That too, right. One of the main cat girl has chakrams.
Great.
Yep,
yeah.
they invented that.
It's
they definitely invented
it.
They invented that.
Jeebus. Now we have to pay model extra fees.
Actually, we learned that there's a class system and the chakrams are the weapon of one of the defender classes.
Wow, you know so much already about this game, and I don't know anything.
Yeah,
please
I've
don't
seen the trailer.
Hannah, please do not talk about this game.
Please
just
don't
a
spoil.
trailer.
As long as I'm around you, okay?
There's a trailer. Well, there was a trailer and it was just about gameplay stuff.
I didn't watch the trailer. How often do I have to tell you?
Well,
I don't
that's
look
like,
at trailers.
Oh, don't spoil me about the Titanic sinking. I didn't watch the news.
I do not watch them trailers. They spoil everything these days.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Trailers are really weird at times. Like, okay, little tangent. I watched the Doctor Strange movie recently, and I was I found it very funny that the trailer basically, not really spoiled because you don't have the context, but showed like one of the last scenes of the entire movie. It's like really,
See
really.
why I don't do this anymore?
I mean, it didn't spoil me because I lacked the context, but it was still funny. And I noticed. Anyway, Felix, what are you waiting for? Come on, go, go, go.
All right, I'm gonna about some stream basics first. So I will do game development. But if you have any questions, just ask them in the chat. And if you write at @ReadyGeFishGames or @Geflügel or @Regiden or even the @Teflora, you increase the chance of us seeing that question. Because otherwise I tend to miss questions a lot. I'm sorry about that. And yeah, so that's about it. I don't think there will be a stream drawing today either. It's because this will not be a 4-hour stream again. I'm sorry. So let me just start the game. Go to this very old and outdated map, but there's a lot of nice enemies here.
Wait.
Huh?
No showcase?
Oh, should I showcase? I wanted to showcase Chakram, but I can showcase your maps too if you want to.
I was thinking Chakram. I thought you were going directly into game dev.
No, I'm just opening the map here now. Let me just show. If there's anything else I should show off, just let me know. I tend to forget the things that were added.
Like how the map menu maps will look like.
Let me import something and then undo it before I break your maps. But yeah. Okay, so here it is. So you know the weapons we had so far were like the sword. We had the hammer, right? We had the bow, and now the new weapon is the Chakram, which actually behaves different from the one in CrossCode in that it actually comes back like a boomerang, you know.
So it doesn't bounce on walls. That means that we can't do bouncing puzzles.
Well, at least not with this weapon in particular.
Oh no.
Like we actually
you can still do puzzles with it.
Yeah, you can still do puzzles with it, but they will be different. And you know, we can still have bouncing puzzles, but there will not be an inherent feature of all your range weapons this time. Because I really
that would
didn't...
just be... Let's not just make CrossCode again.
Yeah, first I didn't want to do like CrossCode all over again, and also having weapons bounce everywhere is actually also kind of annoying at times, because it gives the player too many options to do things.
But we learned from open world games that it's good when player can do everything.
Okay, so what's nice about this weapon is that it can hit multiple enemies, and I already see that we might have to balance this a little bit, because it already feels very powerful, especially if you have a lot of enemies like this here. But that might also be because this weapon also happens to break the enemies very quickly. So they're actually very vulnerable to slicing damage right now.
I think we should make a feature that it becomes more powerful when you have a microphone and shout some Xena war cry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure players will love this, especially when playing in public.
It's like... Oh God.
It's like those stupid DS features where you're supposed to blow in your console and you're just hoping like nobody watches you doing this.
Yeah, or...
I never understood that. Like, do people not understand that there's spit in your mouth?
Yeah, and also, do you remember this one older angry video game nerd episode where he tested some headset type game, and it had like you basically fired by shouting fire in the microphone, and then the manual said, oh yeah, you can also easily put the headset on and play it in public, or when someone else is in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, great. And then you're shouting fire all the time. That must be amazing.
Okay, EL 2022 says you could make it so it weakens as it hits enemies, and then Hoppy the Foot says exactly the opposite. Will it get more powerful the more enemies and bosses you have with the Chakram? I think probably we'll go more into EL 2022's direction. I was thinking of saying like it will kind of decrease slightly in damage with each hit, but we have to see. I mean, kind of like I feel this is probably more balanced, because you want to control, you want to have the weapon to still be useful against single enemies, and if you just say the damage stays the same, or if it even increases after that, it makes it automatically very, very powerful against many enemies. And you can balance this by saying it decreases in damage slightly after each hit.
I can see
Which
it
would
being...
be what
yeah.
Dragon Quest did. Right?
Yeah, right. And I mean, I could definitely see it like it decreases in damage, and then you can maybe have some stuff for the weapon skill tree that you can maybe reduce the reduction a bit. And also, you could potentially have like special moves that work the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are more specialized, as the name special moves. Right.
How far can you throw it?
Currently, it's kind of balanced like roughly out of the screen. Like if you throw it up, you might actually still see it returning. So that's how far you can throw it. And the special thing is you can actually call it back. So if you throw it and you start aiming, it comes back quicker. So you actually can control how far it flies. And also something I actually tweaked recently is that it doesn't always return when it hits anything like this. It actually is a little bit tolerant in collision, like it slides around things. I mostly just did this because the collision box of this chakram is a bit bigger than for arrows, and because of that it happens to collide with things which it's not intended to hit, and so I think like nice. A little bit of sliding like this probably helps to make it less frustrating. But not too much. Like it could theoretically slide around things entirely, but I didn't want to go too far with that because otherwise you can use it in very unintended ways, I think.
Kovac asks, what will happen if you throw it and then leave the map easy? You will lose the weapon forever.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, it will always fly back to you. The thing is, even if it's colliding with stuff, you can see that it essentially will start into a phasing mode and actually go through the geometry and just still come back to you. There's still proper effects missing for that. Right now it just loses the trail. But so that's currently how it behaves. So you will always get it back. And that's also important because you actually cannot throw it before it comes back. So you actually have to, like, if you just throw it and ignore it, it can take some time before it comes back, and then it might take a bit longer until you can throw it again. Maybe we can balance this a bit in saying that it actually gets faster if it's returning for a longer time. It's actually something I thought about too. Because otherwise you might accidentally throw it away and then it's gone for actually pretty long, and then you cannot throw it for another second or so.
Actually, Felix, did you read Yellow Camel's subscription message?
I think I didn't.
Are you?
Oh yeah.
Yellow Camel subscribed for 10 months this already.
Oh.
Are you excited for season 2 of Made in Abyss? I started watching that because you recommended it in a stream a long time ago.
There's a second season? God damn it.
It comes next season actually, and we still need to watch the movie before that.
Yeah, I'm actually not up to date with Made in Abyss, I have to admit. I didn't watch the movie yet, but actually, yeah, I think I am pretty excited. I did like the anime a lot, so
it was great.
The first season.
Yeah, we should watch it together.
It had a lot of children suffering, and I like that. No, it was really good. It was really good series.
maybe less children suffering.
By the way, a reliable source recently told me that I think it was how is it called again? Basically, one of those movies that encompass like an entire season, but in the length of a movie. Apparently, was running on one of our TV channels in Germany recently, like Pro7 Max, where they show like a lot of anime. And I was really worried because it ran like 8 o'clock or something. And I'm not sure if I would want the kind of brutality that the series had running free TV 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Especially when children might be watching it because, oh look, it's cute cartoons. And then certain scenes roll around and yay, children suffering brutally.
It will just be cut out like they did with any anime back in
Yeah, maybe, I'm not sure, but I could see that.
Very likely.
You say that, but considering how back in the day they sometimes totally did not cut out certain brutal scenes from Dragon Ball, for example. That was funny.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
Dragon Ball was still a bit early, but for instance, One Piece, they basically cut the thing in half.
Yeah.
You could see that.
By the
Or,
way, Hobby the Fool
Naruto.
asked if what happens when you leave the map when you throw it and didn't catch it before leaving. Then everything will be reset. So everything's reset when you switch maps. So you will still have the weapon.
Interesting.
Mayoff has also a question. Can you throw it and then quickly switch to another weapon?
Actually, yeah, you can. You see that? I actually need to. So it even keeps flying back as you switch and use other weapons. So that works.
L said that a neat upgrade would be allowing multiple chakrams at a time. That actually wouldn't be a neat upgrade because it would make the thing way more powerful, like twice as powerful, 3 times as powerful. However, that is a good idea for the roguelike mode.
Well,
There's a prime example of where you can do bullshit like that.
Sure.
well, if somebody implements this, sure.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. Yeah, actually, like, it's probably not that difficult to say you can just keep throwing chakrams.
I know you will just throw 3. You will throw them like 2, but both at an angle, you know,
Oh, okay, yeah.
or 3, and they're kind of shaped like 1 goes forward and then 2 to the side. Stuff like that. That's a prime thing for like the crazy realm.
Okay, so maybe I should talk now about what I actually want to implement today, and that's that will actually be a special feature of the chakram. Like, the chakram can actually be used to target multiple enemies and throw the projectile in a way that it kind of like flies from one target to the next and tries to hit all of them. So that is essentially like the big feature of the chakram. And the way we imagine it is that when you aim an enemy for a certain time, it will kind of like be marked, and then you can go on to the next target. And once you throw, it will go through all the marked targets and then just end with your last target. And then it will return. So that's the idea. So that's what I want to try to implement today. And we'll see how far we get. I don't think it will be that difficult because I already started implementing a few things for that, but we will see. Yeah, that's the plan for today.
Show them overworld map.
Oh yeah, maybe I can do that first. Yes.
Climate stuff.
And climate stuff. Okay.
But I also have 2 more questions about the chakram, actually.
Yeah.
One is, how fast can you recall it after being thrown?
Currently it's like this. I actually intentionally added a short delay that it doesn't return too quickly, because otherwise it just felt a little bit too weird. Because also, in the way at least I'm used to play the game with mouse and keyboard, I always throw and start aiming after that immediately again. And when you do that, it actually returns as quickly as possible. And that felt a little bit too weird to me, so I thought, okay, it at least should have like a minimum distance. And another thing is, if you actually target an enemy, at least right now I decided that it will at least go up to this target before it returns, even if you recall it. Mostly because otherwise, at least I sometimes caught it back too quickly and not hitting the target, and it felt kind of weird to me. So that's why I decided to make it like this. I mean, that's still stuff we can tweak and experiment with, but that's currently what I ended up with.
And is there also a timer when you caught it to where you can throw it again?
There is actually a timer, but it's a little bit different. This timer actually starts counting by the time it comes back. And I did this so that when it's like very far away and it comes back from far away, so it takes some time until it comes back, you can actually throw it away. But if you recall it immediately, there is a short delay. Actually, currently there isn't. Because it actually even if you call it back immediately, it takes some time until it comes back. So effectively right now there is no delay, but we can actually add a delay, and this delay can only be there if it comes back very quickly. So that
You
was
could
the
also
idea.
have is like an ability that if you call it back and then press or let go of in the case of keyboard, let go of the button at the right time, you throw it immediately, kind of make it a skillful thing.
Oh, you mean like...
If you time it correctly, you don't have timer.
Ah.
That would be a ability I would put on a skill tree.
Actually, yeah, that shouldn't be too hard, I think, yeah. So like, but it, like, immediately when it comes back, you throw again, and then...
Yeah, like you can increase the base time a little bit before you can throw it again, and then we add an ability that rewards players for like being precise on their inputs, you know. Not so much that it would disrupt general gameplay, but it's like a feature that people can get good at. That's sort of like adding depth to the mechanics. Bonus if you call it back while it's on top of an enemy. Yeah, stuff like that is also something we've thought about. Felix is going to work on the multi-target thing now. And I guess with all these things, it's always like, yeah, we'll try it out and see how it feels. We have definitely lots of ideas for how each weapon gets like new actions over time in the game.
Yeah, we had a lot of ideas, and it was actually a good thing we talked about this, like we planned this more in detail recently. Because now actually in general something I did this week was working on ranged weapons and trying to think how we can actually implement all the different weapons with one entity, because that's the best way to do it in my opinion. So you have like one entity that you can configure in many ways, because then you have a lot of uniform functionality, like it can switch elements or it can attach certain other effects and all that, so you can all do this with the same entity. That's the idea. Kovac asks, will you have a spare like weapon? Yes, but it will be a melee weapon, not a ranged weapon. So not a throwing spare like javelin like, but like
a lance.
Yeah.
Hoppy the Fool asks, so let me get that straight. If you throw a Charum and then fire it in the same frame, you catch it, you get perfect catch and deal extra damage.
I mean, it's something...
Not the same frame, because that is impossible.
Yeah, perfect. Not same frame, but like very quickly after you catch it or around the time you catch it. I mean, yeah, I think that would be roughly the idea. Either you do more damage or you say you just skip directly recharge time. Though I actually like the idea saying that it does more damage mostly, because I actually don't expect the chakram to have a lot of recharge time. Especially if you throw it back from far away, it should not have any recharge time because it's already punishing enough that it takes some time to come back. But yeah, saying like it does more damage is... I
actually have an idea of how you can animate that. You know how when you catch it and you perfectly let go or press on the gamepad, then Juno does a little spinny animation and throws while jumping a little bit, you know.
Oh yeah.
Spin and then uses the momentum of the returning chakram to like throw it again.
I like
that. That should be easily possible because we can do this via a player component thing.
Eric Artsana to ask or says, would be nice if you could toggle certain abilities on and off. Imagine having one build where you have multi-target ability and another with an explosive chakram. Like certain abilities like the multi-target we actually want to have fixed, because this will also be relevant for puzzles very likely. Whenever puzzles are involved, you don't want to have this optional, because otherwise you can't solve the puzzle. But that being said, we probably will not have abilities that you like, not skills that you can switch on and off, but there will be another way to add like stuff to your weapons which you can swap out. Like I think it's not too much if I talk about gems, or is it? I'm not sure.
No, it's
Like-
okay.
Well, I mean, for gems we can add passive abilities that you can enable and disable depending on what gems you activate, like attached to your weapon. And it's possible to have like specific gems for specific weapons at least, that have unique functions like that. Maybe. At least it's an option, I think.
Yeah. And again, like lots of these things are a lot of these ideas are like having certain builds are perfect for the roguelike mode where you can implement crazy stuff without making the main game completely busted.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas I had was that special abilities like that could be unlocked in the roguelike mode, kind of end game material, and then if you like complete a challenge with that, you can keep it in the main game.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I love that.
Kovash asks, can Chakram have charge mode like 3-level special so it will bounce around targets in a star-like pattern, hitting like 5 times? Oh, I'm not sure if we will have this particular attack. I don't know, maybe. There will be combat ups, so there will be something like in Crosscode where you can charge up weapons, though the twist about those attacks will be that it's less, actually those will be less weapon focused and there will be more element focused. That was at least the idea. And when it comes to special weapon skills, those are uniquely to the weapon, but combat arts will be more connected to elements. That's mostly, well, there are certain reasons why we want to do that, but one is that it kind of like puts the element in center, whereas like the weapon combos put the weapon in center. I think that's kind of the idea. Okay, yeah, anyway.
You wanted to show stuff.
Oh yes, I actually wanted to show stuff, man, I was distracted. Okay, I didn't want to show terrain, I want to show the world map. Where's the world map? Right? World map, am I blind? There it is, okay. Look at those beautiful world maps. And all this detail. So many unique pixels, look at this.
Also, go to the bottom left and do a different background color. Because right now it's just black. Make it a little bit alpha transparent, or like do it like alpha 0.
Well, okay. If I do it exactly 0, you actually don't see anything. That's interesting.
God damn it! All right.
Okay.
I know why that is. Just make it something in between.
Almost transparent. So okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, look at this great map. Those are the maps you will have in Terra, or at least roughly like this. And yeah, that's something that Stefan mostly worked on recently. And
there's
also,
actually already a new map, but I guess you haven't fetched yet.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Maybe I can. But okay, so here. This is like one map we are currently sketching, or more than sketching, that's more like the rough layout. And then you can import actually, that's like one of the big features.
Oh yeah, that's a new feature, yeah.
Yeah, maybe I can demonstrate this and just undo things again. So let's for instance say that we want to have a little bit more distance here. So I say, okay, let's actually move it like this. Or let's make the opposite, let's make it a bit closer. So now they're not exactly synced. And then I can save this. And then I go to this map here. Click on import, the left.
Oh, import right.
Import, oh yeah, okay, already.
You're importing from the right.
Yeah, like, yeah. From the right, and here you go. now we actually have the tiles from this map imported. So
Not just the tiles, also the planes, entities, everything.
yeah, everything from the neighbor map is perfectly how it should be. And also the height is different now.
Yeah, that is true. The height is also different. That's probably a bug. Yeah, that's the bug I was talking about. There's I fixed some bugs. You probably need to fetch, and then it works again. That's
okay,
because you can see that the maps have a different mean sea level. Right?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, I can see
there's
that. Yeah.
and then I don't take the difference between them as the delta, but I just use the target map mean sea level,
see.
which obviously is wrong. In this case, it should be 0.
Yeah, anyway, so the version I have here still has bugs, but yeah, in general, this feature I think will make a huge difference to accelerate the mapping process. Okay, let me just quickly undo it before I push anything that's broken.
There have been a few questions.
Indeed.
Hoppy the Fool asks, will there be some kind of combo counter if you hit an enemy with different weapons in a certain amount of time, like Master of Arms skill?
I think Hannah had some ideas for like this, like which encourages switching weapons during combos or stuff like this.
That's there were some ideas like that you get a bit of bonus damage directly after weapon switching to like reward some to reward some weapon switching during combos to make them more interesting and stuff like that.
So yeah, like we are thinking about adding stuff like this too.
We definitely want, I mean, we said that before, but we definitely wanted to move away from very straightforward passive bonus skills like in Crosscode, and wanted to fill these weapon skill trees with like either new active skills or upgrades to those active, well, not skills, but more like active attack moves. And some passive bonuses that are more unique to the specific weapons.
Okay, I think the next question is by Psychiatric asking, will there be time switches that only activate with chakram, holding it in place and activating before resetting and returning it? Like, I know it's puzzle related. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that was an idea that we had. So yes, I mean that's because it is like this one thing that you throw and comes back to you. You can actually design a lot of unique puzzle elements with this. Also, the multi-targeting will also be an idea I actually had recently is like you can do something pretty basic, like certain puzzle elements or even proxy spawn enemies are actually caught by the chakram and will be moving with the chakram, and when you hit something else after you caught up with the chakram, they might explode. Like imagine a bomb and you target it with the chakram, and then you target an enemy and then you throw it, it catches the bomb and moves the bomb to the enemy and explodes. So I think that would be pretty fun if that's like if you design it in the right way, that you have enough time to aim a little bit. I think that would be a fun mechanic. So yeah, catching stuff with chakrams is another thing I'm considering adding. There's a lot of stuff like that. But yeah, in general, like whereas in Crosscode, the puzzles were kind of like designed around the ball throwing and the elements. In Terra, there will be more designed around how the weapons differ in their behavior. That's also why all the weapons we are having actually have a different behavior puzzle-wise, and especially the ranged weapons. The melee weapons are also all different in the way they hit things, but the ranged weapons all have like additional effects. Like the bow is like the straightforward, you shoot things with a straight line, and then you have like the chakram which returns to you. Then we have the bombs, which kind of like deal slight range damage and kind of can detonate later. That's actually another feature. They don't do this by default, I think, because this will make things too messy, but we can have puzzle elements that kind of can delay the detonation of bombs, for instance. That's an idea. And then we have the Karma, which is essentially like the grappling hook, more or less. I mean, you can shoot at things and you can actually grapple yourself to this location. So those are the ranged weapons. Am I spoiling too much?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I barely listen to you, to be honest.
Okay.
But I just assume
There are
that-
going to be different ranged weapons. Yeah, one basically one for each attack type / pierce and blunt, and then one kind of outlier that probably does multiple damage types, and has also some special use like the Karma.
Karma hair.
Come on. No.
But the next question was by Chachassenry, auto-generated or manual, and I think it was about the world map.
Yeah. Yeah. So
graphics.
the base maps are all created by hand. We have like a big PSD where you basically draw in the environment design, and you kind of say, all right, this is connected to this and this is connected to that, and then you create those maps painfully. And no, it's not really painful. It's actually kind of cathartic. And then you go into the world map editor, you import the map, and it automatically kind of takes each height at each tile in the map and then kind of puts that on a gradient. And it also cuts out some stuff when needed. And you can also give it a padding. That's what Felix showed shortly, where like the map was a little bit translucent. That is basically just for me to know that in the map menu you don't want to see this part, so we can fade them out and in without having overlaps. And you can do some yeah, go ahead.
Just wanted to show, actually let me quickly fetch and see if I can get the newest version. But yeah, Flora has been working on environment particles more. So, but actually I think I have the newest version. I'm not sure if I can see those nice particles we actually worked on recently, you know.
I think I haven't pushed them yet, but let me push them real quick.
Maybe I can show them later then. But yeah, we have nice snow here, and yeah, okay, there's still like the skating bug. But apart from that, yeah, we are working on environment articles. That's another thing we're working on.
Jesus Christ, these snowballs throwing by the gods above.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you switch, then you have giant snowballs suddenly.
Oh, that's when you switch.
Yeah, that's
Just
still
give me a
bug.
minute. I push it in a second.
Okay.
I'm currently rebasing. Okay. Everything seems to be fine. No conflicts.
Late as usual says maybe the new perspective in Project Terra will allow you to use some fancy 3D VFX in-game. I mean... Oh, is that somebody you know, Stefan?
Late as usual. Yes. I don't know. Is it okay late if I say something? I don't want to like like. It's just someone I follow on them Twitters.
Oh, okay.
That does amazing stuff in Blender.
Yeah, I mean, like we have now the power of a GPU on our side, so we can do a lot of fancy stuff with it. And I mean, in fact, we already
Yes.
have some pretty cool effects here. I mean, like the water shaders, like a basic example. But yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot more stuff we could do. We kind of like need to balance this with actually making the game. But I think that's
like the level of Blender tech is, I think, not possible for us. I do love the water shade. That is done by Flora, actually.
Yeah.
I pushed it.
Okay, let me fetch.
But we want to do
thank
more
you.
with it. Like there should be like we want flow in it and.
Yeah, the water. We're not done with water yet.
Yes.
I'm not sure we will
Not
ever.
yet.
I'm not sure we will ever be done with water, to be honest.
Yep.
I kind of afraid like this will keep going until the end of development. But
First hotfix after 1.0.
yeah, the water
fix
hotfix.
Yeah, the water hotfix. We
Fix-
made all of it.
fix
Like this
water
is
for
something
real
that
now.
that will become more important
Yeah.
as soonish, I imagine, because I would like to incorporate that into the world design a bit more, especially when it comes to stuff like making a like faster current, and also like currently there's also some stuff if you set the depth. Like currently the shadows, they don't get cast on top of the surface when the depth is very shallow, right? Something is wrong with the shadows in the water anyway. Like something is messing them up.
That could very well be. And it was a lot of tweaking done, and at some point I said, okay, stop it for now.
Yeah. Like this is like
The time sink.
I think we
Yeah,
already
I know
had
if-
something that I think the water shader manipulates the depth, but not like it's flat, but it actually kind of like the depth is kind of like calculated, and the shadows are just kind of projected on this depth in a weird way, and that's also why they wiggle. At least that's what I think is currently happening.
Yeah, but it doesn't. They are not correctly projected. Like if you have fixed color right now, alpha value as your deep color, then the water, like the shadows, should be projected on top of the surface, right? Or like
Well-
the shadows shouldn't be shown at all, actually, in deep water, but they are shown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that is.
Yeah,
I think.
I think there's a slider somewhere. Probably not in the settings yet. Probably it's just uniform in the.
There is. I didn't find it. Like I tried to find it.
I also just remembered that I did this.
I mean, I think the idea is that we have at least an option to say that for water the shadow should just be on top of it. But even if you do that, you actually don't, like, ideally you don't want to have them be there just flat, because that would imply the water is perfectly flat. You want to have some movement. So there came the idea that we kind of like calculate like the depth a little bit to match the waves. And I think then Flora went a bit further and said, okay, it's actually not landing on top of the surface, but a little bit deeper, and you can actually configure how deep exactly it is. But I think you can see this working, because
I think it's the Z clamp value in the water play material.
Yeah, because actually now you
I
do
see it. Yeah, Z clamp is doing it. This kind of like we should probably call this like pixel depth or something, because Z clamp isn't very telling.
It's also not working perfectly, but
yeah, I can see it working. Yeah, Z clamp. I actually thought like it should be. It's probably called something like depth. Is it in the shader code? And then I looked at the shader code, and then again I was like, nah.
If you set it like very high, it's essentially on the top. Yeah, but actually it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. You still see shadows below the water, and that is actually something that shouldn't happen. So something is still wrong here, Flora.
Yeah, probably. As I said, it's kind of complicated.
It's been a while.
Because you have to project the bottom variable straight up onto the water surface, and that gets very tricky.
I mean, you could just render the plane into the depth buffer. That would be the easiest fix to just say it's on top.
Of course, but then you don't have the option to.
Yeah, maybe we don't need
have...
this option. I'm just saying. Like, I think it's more important to have like one option where it works well on the surface, rather than saying, okay, it's really, really complicated, but we really want to have the shadows below water. Maybe we don't need shadows below water. Just
like
saying.
reduce it a little bit, Phoenix, so you can see it. Can you reduce the Z clamp to like 40? I wanna see something. Yeah, it could also work, I guess. To be honest, because of the fact that Juno can walk in water, you have to make the water always very deep. And we could just say, all right, in that case, we just say that's the max render distance where shadow is visible in the geometry. That actually, I think that also makes sense from a gameplay perspective, if I think about it. Yeah, we'll see. As said, this is
it's all
something
polishing.
you can.
Not surprising, but you can tweak a lot.
Yeah, you can tweak a lot.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of style you also want, right?
Yeah.
In the end, you always like it's actually hard to do things perfect. You always at the end need to do some compromises. With what effect is really important for you. It's like the same, like we have now transparent things. And if you have those transparent things jumping into the water, it really gets really complicated very quickly. And so like the easiest solution is to say, okay, we don't have transparent things in water. Full stop. That's it. But yeah. Okay, now I will actually start with the development, I think. I will try to work on multi-aiming.
Alright. Then I have to talk about something. Alright. Now listen.
It's okay if you have all of us.
I recently been on a self-discovery journey. And in that self-discovery journey, I realized that once per month I can subscribe to one of my favorite streamers for free using Twitch Prime.
It's that time of the month again.
I have a question before you continue. Could you also subscribe to a different streamer who's not your favorite?
No, you always have to subscribe to the streamer that is talking about Twitch Prime. That's like a law of Twitch.
Okay.
Everybody knows that. If you don't do that, you're considered like subhuman.
Oh no. A pariah, basically.
Yeah, pariah. Sitting in the choir. To the big time chisel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how they say it on the street.
It's that time of how things are stored? I assume it's not using shadow cascades like in most engines.
I'm already answering in text.
Oh, alright.
Yeah,
alright, Flora's answering.
Yeah, it was just easier for me now.
Yeah. Yeah, like the good thing, like this is a pixel game, so you can cheat a little bit. Also, our perspective is forced, which allows for even more cheating.
Yeah, from some directions the shadows don't work at all. So
you can kind of see it in the. Yeah, you can see it in the when you like manipulate the position of the sun. I think with some climate stuff, right? You can test that, and you can see how if you stretch the shadows far enough, lots of them don't work correctly because we're using billboards, right?
Yeah,
and
then
then
the shadows don't
actually
connect anymore. They
maybe
have gaps in them.
Actually, I can show you something that I worked on, I think last weekend, and didn't talk about anybody with that. But at least to me that was a huge achievement. So this was about projectiles. And it's actually very nice to demonstrate how weird shadows are. Let me just quickly show you the projectile. If I go to weapon and the crossbow. So look very closely at the shadow. I need to slow down things. So this shadow looks okay in my opinion, but that's not how things used to be. Let me change the direction. So this is not how the shadow used to be for the arrow. Let me show you how the shadow actually used to be. For that I need to go to weapon, projectile, and we have such a advanced editor. Okay, the actual shadow used to look wow, actually I have two graphics here. This one actually is not used anymore. I can't delete it.
I can't believe it.
Okay, so this is how things used to be. So actually yeah, I have to change the climate too. God damn it, we have too many configurations. Okay, look at this shadow. This shadow is wrong because look at this shadow because, you know, what would be a realistic shadow if there's a sun shining from above? It would be another straight arrow projected on the floor. But no, this arrow on the shadow here is diagonal, and that's because what you see here is not an arrow that's parallel to the floor. No, it's actually an arrow that is kind of like parallel to the screen. It's a billboard, right?
Oh,
and if
yeah,
you drop
right.
a shadow of that, it will be diagonal. It makes sense. That's realistic, you know? But I didn't like this. I hated this. So what I did is I said, okay, I changed the shear value to 1. And now the shadow looks better. Like now it's how it's supposed to be, right? Because now it's parallel to the ground plane. Correct shadow looks good enough to me. But there was an issue, and to show that I actually just need to kind of like change the shear value very slightly. And now look at how this arrow is rotated. It's wrong. And that's because I have a very kind of weird calculation. This arrow is using bones actually. It's using the bone system of an animation system. There's actually a bone here. Let me see. Yeah, actually the root is like the one bone. And the graphic is rotated and scaled along this bone. And this rotation feature assumes that billboards are always like parallel to the screen. But since this billboard is parallel to the ground, there is some implied perspective distortion that the rotation doesn't take into account. And that's why the rotation is wrong. So now I had like the correct shadow, but the arrow didn't have the right angle. And I hated this. And I actually spent, I think, like 3 or 4 hours or something. Or maybe it was, I don't even think it took that long. But I did spend some time just figuring out a new rotation calculation to fix this. And this one currently only applies if I set the shear value exactly to 1. And I actually was very proud I figured out this rotation. But you know, it's one of those tiny details that probably nobody notices, but it was important to me. So now we have everything. We have like the right shadow and the right rotation. Rotation isn't off anymore. So yay.
Nice, good work.
So that's kind of like the kind of issues we have to work with here, because we are faking a lot of things. Everything is billboards, and most of the time that looks good enough. There's some occasions where it doesn't look so great. That's also why sometimes you have a little bit of weird shadows where there's like some gaps. And it's actually, this shadow direction is chosen for several reasons, but it also turns out this shadow direction is great to avoid those issues, because if I turn it around, you will actually see that there are very often weird holes here. Actually, let me change here. Let's show some animations. For instance, yeah, you start seeing, okay, here's a hole here. Here they have some weird holes, and that's all because we're using weird billboards and they're kind of like rotated to fit, but it doesn't always make sense in 3D space, and that's why, well, you often have weird holes like this, but you actually don't notice them in the original perspective, at least not that much. Like there might be some holes that you notice, but for the most part it looks good enough. So yeah.
Thankfully, ladder down is probably never displayed in such a way that it becomes a problem.
Yeah, you probably will never see that.
Specifically.
Yeah, I think this will be in practice the case for a lot of animations.
Mm-hmm.
And the big advantage is always like things are zoomed out to a level that you usually don't pay attention to the small details anyway. But yeah, there's also a reason, by the way, why weapons don't show shadows. Turns out those shadows simply don't work so well, so I just disabled them.
Yeah, that makes sense. And
I actually never realized they don't cast a shadow.
Yeah, that's my point. Like people don't
it thematically
notice.
Makes sense.
Well, yeah, it actually does. Like you can argue they don't throw shadows, but the arrows still do, because I mean, actually for projectiles, it's good to have shadows. So you better see the depth that way. But for weapons, for melee weapons, I don't think so.
Yeah, there are effects anyway on top.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's something I also worked on secretly over the weekend. Implementing a new billboard rotation for shear equal 1. Maybe at some point I will do another one for shear equal 0, and then I can just linear interpolate between those, and then we have perfect rotations for all shear values. Maybe.
I also just thought, in theory, we could have different shear values for. Oh wait, maybe not.
Actually,
for shadow and normal.
Shadow normal. Actually, I was playing with the thought you could adapt the shear value depending on how the bone is rotated. Like you could query if the bone is actually more parallel to the XY plane, the shear value should be 1. Whereas if it is actually pointing up and down, or like there is no Y dimension, in that case it should be shear value 0. So you could just take the Y component relative to X and Z, and depending on this proportionality you could interpolate between 0 and 1 shear. And this might more correctly match the actual 3D position, and that way the shadows might be more accurate. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want to do this. Like in practice it might look weird, like unless the rotation really is always calculated perfectly. But it's something I might look into if I feel like wasting time.
And in case people are not sure what we mean with shear value, basically we don't want to distort the pixel art. But and the normal way to do this is to have just a billboard at this looking into the screen. But sometimes you need the geometry, the actual vertices, to be, for example, with shear 0, they would be completely vertical. And so we distort, we actually stretch the vertices, so the pixel art is not distorted on the screen. And the same thing with shear 1 is they are all flat on the ground.
Yeah.
and we stretch it again to not distort the pixel art.
I can actually give you a small demonstration here about the 3 different behaviors. So here, this one is a regular shear, and you can see it's always parallel to the screen. And if you do that, it actually doesn't distort no matter where it is on the screen. It gets smaller and bigger depending on far away it is, but it's always like it always has the same orientation. That is shear 0.5. That's the default setting. Shear 0 it's a billboard, but it's actually parallel to the ground, right? Actually, that's also why it behaves a bit weird if you rotate it. Like shear 0 is actually shear 1. Sorry, shear 1 is actually kind of weird when you rotate the screen. But yeah, but still, for this camera configuration, it looks like it's on the ground, right? Whereas shear 0 makes it look like it's upright, like it's like there's no Y dimension. It's only along the X and Z dimension. That's why you kind of like have it distorted like you know, like a fence, for instance, or like an actual tree, right? An actual tree. If it would be very flat, like a paper mache tree, it would look like this. So those are like the 3 modes, and we can actually interpolate between those. So I can say, it's like a little bit between 0 and 0.5. So now we have something which is kind of between the two. So we can play around with what looks great. But yeah, that's kind of like something we implemented. And it turned out to be pretty useful, actually. Like sometimes you actually want to have this.
Super useful. For example, when you have something close to a cliff, you don't want to have the geometry clip into the cliff, so you use shear lower than 0.5 to have it more vertical. Or grass, for example, has also, I think, a lower shear value. Or when you assemble a tree out of multiple things, sometimes things overlap weirdly, and then you can tweak those values to make it look better.
Yeah.
Gabe is asking if he can help us with Terra via Patreon or something. But don't worry, we thankfully have a sponsorship by our own government.
We're sponsored by
and now
taxpayers' money.
Cutting 2 hours to sponsor. It's German VPN, providing
German
excellent
VPN.
financial help when you want to do game dev.
Yeah, please play the game Raub Schattenlegende.
You just pay German taxes, and that's how you help us.
Yeah. No, honestly though, I mean, just spreading the word helps, but honestly, maybe wait a little bit until that before we're reaching like the phase where we actually have the proper name of the game, you know? Project Terra is not the actual name of the game. It's still a placeholder.
We are closing in on one.
I think we're getting close to actually finding a good name, so maybe there will be some news about this soon. And once the actual name is out, you can tell people, you can show the video. That always is so only German people will be able to play the game. Search.
Only German. Yeah, actually, it also, the game is basically about World War II, because we always have to make something about the war and our role in it.
Yeah.
It always needs to be culturally important. No, actually, thankfully not.
Yeah, thankfully not. It sounded like that's what's really required, but it turns out they don't really care.
How about Terra Ligma? God damn it.
Oh god, no.
Didn't I make that joke like 20 times already?
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I also did it on at Crossweek a few times.
Oh god, I think at some point we had this, like Terra Ligma, more like Terra Ligma. Oh, no. This is the worst.
Terra
I think
Ligma
because
our game is very Terra Sigma. It's a Terra Sigma game.
It's
Terra Sigma.
the Terra Sigma grind set that we use to make it the best game possible.
Only a true chat will understand this game.
Unbelievable.
Alright. Don't explode into a war about what's the best innuendo pun now. Please. Please. I pray.
I can't wait for the jokes of Enigma, and the other person, what's Enigma? Yeah, Enigma.
Oh.
Obviously.
Oh, I want to make a joke, but I think I already made it. Yeah, I already made it. Never mind. Alright. I remember now.
By the way, did you know that... Oh no, go on. It's yours is definitely more important.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about. So, recently we Blizzard released their mobile Diablo game, right?
Oh yeah,
And we all know, yeah, blah blah blah, monetization, whatever. I don't give a fuck, right? The worst part about it is that I played this game for 6 hours, I think, to test it, right?
That's pretty
And it became super grindy. And I got frustrated like everything takes super long, there's no loot explosions anymore. So I started playing Diablo 3 again on my PlayStation.
Yes.
And I'm having the time of my life, holy shit. It is so fun. I do not understand how, like, this, clearly it's a mobile game. It needs to be as tedious as fuck to milk those whales, right?
I mean, did you see those stats? How much money you need to pay to get those items statistically?
Yeah, I don't care. It's always some ridiculous amount with these mobile games. You know, Blizzard is just doing the same thing everyone else is doing.
Actually, they are doing it much worse.
Actually, they do it a little bit worse than the others, so they are the worst, and we should totally only dunk on them, but continue playing Fire Emblem Heroes. Because that is totally not draining pockets.
I mean, size matters, Stefan. The size of the amount of money that you need to spend. And apparently, someone made some.
I don't know. Like people said, yeah, all right, okay, and Blizzard is banking on it. It's a business decision. I get it.
Yeah, but you know, there is ethics in video games.
Yeah, there are ethics, and I agree. Like, it is absolutely disgusting how obvious they are trying to trigger gambling addictions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, I agree. But I also think that at some point, you know, your government needs to step in and say, these things can't work. And as long as they don't work, like, companies are always going to curve around things. And the government, in my opinion, should be smart enough to know this. And if it doesn't, it's just a sign that it is too old for current time.
Yeah, especially, it's not something new. We've had regulations on gambling before, right?
Yeah, and just saying, yeah, that this isn't real money, as like dodging that law, is already abusing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, it makes enough money to for the governments to like say like, it's a slow problem. We're gonna let that slide because taxes. But anyway, like, if you just want the same fun of that game, but with actual fun, you just play like Diablo 3 again. Take a new character, make a new build, you know.
Or
I level to top level, and then there's the Paragon levels, right? Which are like the grindy, the thing at the end. I'm already at Paragon 200 something. I don't even want to know how long it takes until I get to that Diablo Moral.
I mean, alternatively, you could also be very cultured and play Path of Exile.
Yeah. Like you clearly there are good examples.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Like Warframe is another thing that is like, yeah, it can work, obviously, but I feel like this game in particular, like Diablo, is a PC game, and because they made a PC port, all those PC players are like are very vocal about their disposition with the game. But if those PC players would be regular mobile players, they would probably not be that surprised about what this game does. Because if you have played any EA mobile game, right, they are doing this for years. Candy Crush Saga makes so much money. It is. I don't even understand where they get all the money from. Like, can you believe that so many people pay to quicker match free a game? Like, for me, that's a mini game, not something I would pay extra to get more points, you know. Gotcha in Project Terra win.
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta implement it. Our government actually invested in an NFT project, so you might have jinxed it. We now have to implement loot boxes. Oh yeah, like the Netherlands, right? They have stricter, like, good example, right? Like they are just like, no, you can't do this clearly unethical bullshit. Our government is like, snooze. Snoozing? What is this internet you're talking about? Mobile? People have phones with displays?
This internet thingy is new.
This internet thing is so new for us. Like, yeah, I understand it when the average age of our government is like 70 plus. Etchy monkey pig. I don't know, like it's one of those typical NFT projects, right? Where they say like, we are expanding the horizon, building a ecosystem of sustainable renewable energies that can be provided via NFTs that are unique and totally cannot be replicated. I'm watching on phone right now. How? What? That is possible? Damn. In my days,
those phones these days.
Like, it's like the one thing that we always say, right? Like, how many here in chat know why the save symbol is this weird rectangle? Like, what is that rectangle? Like all the Zoomers, they don't know what that is.
I don't know. I just saw as a kid. I saw them 3D printed.
What?
Yeah, like made out of plastic. I saw the save symbols 3D printed.
Yeah, like, yeah, right. It's called a floppy disk. Naming stuff. Yeah, I mean, any generation that was born after CDs doesn't know what that is, because, like, why would you? And I wouldn't expect that of you, right? I wouldn't, like, expect that. I'm just saying, like, you need to go, at least keep your eyes, your pulse somewhat on technology. Yeah.
Oh, that video is very funny. The video Kovac posted is really funny.
Yeah, 2002. Yeah, you probably have never seen a floppy disk.
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
I still remember writing stuff on a disk.
Oh, now it's on.
Wow.
Oh, by the way,
right.
did you hear about who was it again? Those two rap people. You know those two, right? There are those two.
You mean I'm an island boy?
Yes, totally. You know those two people that do rap music. There's only those two. I mean Eminem and Snoop Dogg. They did a video together, a music video, and everyone was like, "Wow, that's a very cool song they do together, and that's very big." That those two do a music video, and that's great, right? But they did a music video with their NFT monkeys.
No.
And it's like, oh man, you two, why?
I mean, they don't know what that is. You know,
I know.
Those are musicians.
I know,
And
but still, man.
This is why, like, really, like, imagine we would teach young people that it's okay to not know stuff and to ask people that know stuff about stuff.
But Stefan, they are hip hop people. They must be hip.
Yeah, that's
And,
the worst
pop-
thing, right? Like, they are somewhat in a position where they can abuse their position to influence the opinion of other people, right? Because people idolize them for some reason.
If I use add image and then just scale, then it's scale, right? I'm just gonna.
It should, yeah.
For now, I just use scaled version of the crosshair, so you can't see them. Just placeholders, obviously.
Now I think about it, it might needs to be 1.5. What does it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Never mind.
Okay. Oh, let's see what happens. I'm sure you see something.
Anyway, this concludes my rant about politics for the day. And don't let me even get started on the USA today. God damn it.
Oh God, for fuck's sake. Also, fun fact, in big quotation marks, very funny. Thanks to what happened there, I mean, I talked to some people, then we kind of went into a, let's say a hole, like we fell into a hole of, like, oh, what happens to states that forbid abortions and have no good, like, social security net and stuff like that. And then, like, two different people at two different times said, like, oh yeah, you basically need to look at Romania in the 80s, I think it was, because they had that situation, and that generation then became a very great example for what did she say? What did she say? Fuck, I can't find it. They basically became an study for early childhood development classes, because it was basically the only large-scale example of attachment disorders in young children, and what it can cause in when they become adults, because you had so many children because abortion was illegal, and you had no social security net and no people to care for those children. So you had like a big mess, like an entire generation that had like tons of children that were basically like had no care, no proper care, and so they basically got like irreparable psychological damage that became like a fascinating case study for childhood development studies.
Great.
Because you could never replicate such a case study, obviously, for ethical reasons. Because like you would like screw an entire generation up, but that just happened in Romania under these circumstances, and it was like, oh man, this is fucking dark. Like reading about this.
So what you're saying is basically the American government is on that path.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the same, but it has like certain elements that go into that direction, considering abortion illegal. I mean, not everywhere, of course, because, but I mean, I wouldn't put it past the national government to try to make it illegal everywhere at some point. And of course, you don't have a proper security net at a very individualist society, and yada yada yada. You know, all that.
I actually want to say something very interesting about that, because since yesterday in Germany, it's allowed to advertise abortion.
Right. That was a nice coincidence that we basically finally kicked that stupid law to the curb that made advertisement of abortion illegal. And at the same day, you have like the stuff in America, man.
Yep. And a friend of mine actually went to a concert yesterday from a German Are they a punk band or just a leftist band, the Ärzte?
Yes, they are kind of punk, but it's like somewhat. But it's definitely a popular
They have,
left band.
they have some punk origins, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, they told that also out loud, and then they told everyone to go and have an abortion. Basically.
I just wanted to say, did they tell you that? Okay, I'm gonna quote Wikipedia. It says genres: punk rock, pop punk, alternative rock, ska
Okay.
punk, and pop rock. Okay.
God damn.
Yeah, but it's like
Right.
music genres. Who knows the truth about anything?
Yay! I
Only
think it was...
musician can probably give me the exact difference. I'm always
Yeah,
like,
of course. But
these are the same chords.
yeah, okay. Yes, true. But the thing is, music bands rarely just stay within one genre and
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
very
that is
clearly in
true.
one genre. And usually, and you can also mix and match genres even within the same song. So,
That is true.
like, yeah.
I remember that what's it called? My Chemical Romance got hit hard by that because they made one album in that kind of emo punk, right?
Mm.
And they got a huge following off of that. And then they made another album which was more like normal punk, I guess. And everyone was like, "God damn, this shitty band is making music. How could
Yeah.
they?"
It's funny because I'm not huge into My Chemical Romance, so I also mostly know them from the reputation as like the big emo band. It's like,
Yeah, you know them from the time they were popular with
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
with
Yeah,
Black
right.
Parade, basically.
yeah, right, Black Parade, sure.
But yeah, that's like how we all remember Avril Lavigne by the Skater Boy song.
Skater boy, such something. Oh no, he was a skater boy, not she.
He
Anyway,
was a skater boy. She was something else, and then
what?
she
You
said
don't remember?
something about can I make it any more obvious?
And
She was a skater boy. It's actually a trans anthem.
yeah, obviously, obviously. But hey, you don't know her from her big hit single, Hello Kitty, the Hello Kitty song that she made like a few years ago.
See, I'm already out. Like I'm.
Yeah, me too. I just saw
BRB.
it on Twitter. I just saw it on Twitter, and I was like, man, that's funny. She made like a huge weep song, basically.
There's always like I forgot what I wanted to say because I read chat. It's chat's fault.
That is bad. Yes.
Okay, why does it aim immediately? That's weird. Come on,
That's
shouldn't
weird.
be. It doesn't make
Based on
sense.
Jackson.
Oh, wait a
I
second.
like that big
Yeah.
aim thing. Now I see it.
I think I know why that happens. I think the update target is always called, even if it's not aiming. Why is that though? I mean, that's a little bit unnecessary, right? I mean, I'll need to do this when aiming is active. I think at least.
Anyway, chat. In 3 days, a new game releases, which I'm looking forward to, called DNF Duel. I have never heard of the franchise, but apparently it has been around for over 10 years.
DNF, Duel, okay.
All I know, it's an Arc system.
Indeed, it is.
Beat 'em up, made with the same engine that used for like Dragon Ball and Guilty Gear, and I'm
Looks like it.
in. All right, I'm in. I don't like the fact that it has like a $60 price tag because like fighting games suffer from this big buy-in these days. Imagine like these games are all about PvP, right? You're always playing against another player if you want to have fun, because AI can only go so far. And having $60 as a price tag is so tough, man. It's such like, what if you don't like the game and then you know you're stuck with this?
Okay.
It's DNF Duel, I think.
Okay, it works, but I can't hit enemies anymore when I'm throwing like this. What the heck?
It says add radical regimen.
But that's just because you are bad, Felix. Your skill is not high
Yeah,
enough.
it's a skill issue.
It's skill issue. Yeah, but Stefan, you're actually right. Because you're correct. And also, I mean, that's the reason why so many games do like that are very multiplayer centric do like the free-to-play model, because then you get a lot of players, and then you can still get money from players that stay with the game and want to have more stuff.
Okay, I know why this happens, and it's really stupid. It's because it doesn't really. It turns out like those hedgehogs, they're so small. If you just throw something at them, it actually flies over them.
Oh,
Actually, you need to have like the Z targeting, otherwise you don't hit them. It's like
Wait,
this.
why can I hear you twice? What?
I think it's Flora, because Flora is away. She might have left her sound on or something, so we can hear. Okay, yeah. I was just assuming it was that, because that sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
Stefan, I think I know at least one character, because I think I saw like artworks of her. Very wholesome artworks only, of course. The one with the brown, the brown ponytail, basically.
Yeah, they all are just called by their class. Like the characters, that character is just called the Brawler.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, they're just called
Brawler.
Brawler, Sword Fighter, Hitman,
Oh, so it's
Swift
basically
Master, Lost
ba-
Warrior.
so it's basically literally like Goblin Slayer.
Sure,
Well,
but it kind of it just looks like a very fun combat system, and I really need something that I can play casually without needing to understand my opponent 100%. Because King of Fighters, that was just such a waste of money, man. It's like King of Fighters, just you need to be into that game and spend hours upon hours, and I don't have that time. You know, it sucks. But I hope this game is like Dragon Ball in that sense. Dragon Ball was pretty cool because every character had the same standard combo. You learn that, you can play every character, which was nice. But Guilty Gear Strive is also too complex, I feel like. It's too it's also very weird with how it names things. Personally, that's not a problem for me because I played Guilty Gear when I was younger, but I also heard for people that like why is the jump attack called Dust? Why is this a Roman cancel? What? You know, like all these like weird words in that universe. But I think the latest information on that is that the current patch is apparently pretty busted, in that the top tier characters are even more top tier. Like as far as I know, Guilty Gear Strive is also extremely explosive. Everything does like super high damage. And fights are over in like in seconds, which can be good, right? Quick matches and stuff. But it's obviously a thing that you sometimes want to balance.
Sorry.
The best fighting game, I think we can all agree, is still always will be Smash. Specifically Smash Ultimate. No other Smash. Like every other Smash is basically just inferior material.
Because of the netcode.
I mean, we have solutions for that nowadays, so it's not really a problem anymore. We just use Parsec, and your netcode issues don't exist anymore, and you can even play all the offline game modes with your friends.
But it needs some hacking and stuff, right?
Not really. You can also just stream the Switch to your OBS and then parsec that OBS and let players input stuff. But if you want full control of it, yes, you need the user emulator. Then you just need to dump your Smash copy, which isn't hard. It's just a very weird word for saying let's copy the game onto a USB stick or your file system. And the cool thing about Yuzu and the way everything around that works, it is entirely 100% legal, because you're not doing anything illegal. You're not owning or you're not downloading a legal copy. You always dump your own stuff. It's your own system dump, and Yuzu is just an emulator. It has no way of downloading anything, so yeah, emulators have always been illegal, but there are some emulators, or let's say overlays over the emulators, which are not as illegal. You know, those that download ROMs. Yeah, how you obtain the things you emulate, yeah. But yeah, dumping from your Switch isn't really hard. It's basically just a glorified USB stick anyway.
Well, in that case, I may be trying Smash again.
I mean, I to be honest, I don't play much on my Switch anymore, so I didn't want to buy a second one, or I didn't want to spend the money, so I just bricked mine, and I just said, whatever, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Felix, there's a question for you. What the fuck is that comment about VTubers in the code, Felix?
Wo? Where? Where is it?
I
Tell
don't know.
me.
Apparently
Where?
someone, Chazan Senri said that it might actually be in the shooting act thing. And I think it's one that you already saw when we worked on it. Give me a second. What did I actually... What comment? Give me a second.
Put VTubers in his bookmarks. No!
Oh, right. Check with Felix. Put VTubers in his bookmarks to do. Right.
That's all because of Hannah. Like, I will always regret the choice of making Hannah participate in coding. It's...
Really, that is one comment, one line, and it's like a to-do. And
it's like the worst. Like,
yes, but you know what's the worst about this? You have 2 lines of comments, and instead of using a block comment, you use 2 one-line comments. That is why Felix doesn't like it.
no, it's because of the VTuber, just to be clear.
actually, it makes sense here. It makes sense here, Stefan, because one line is temporary and will be deleted at some point, and the other one is like, oh no, you can keep it here.
Yeah, as if. You know how many to-dos are still in crosscode that never got deleted?
Those are not mine. Those are not mine. Those are...
Crosscode is full of to-dos. I think Terra isn't that much better. Actually, let me check here. Like, here, all the to-dos, like most of them are probably not necessary.
There are some to-dos where...
To-do. Check reactions in loop here. And
I mean,
Sometimes
sometimes...
actually never done.
Yeah.
Because they're still to-dos.
Some of the things are things that, like, we will implement at some point because we know that we needed them in crosscode. And you can also search by node. I also use node : and I think stats are also to-dos for me in my IDE.
Okay, I think now it should work. At least it should fly to the first enemy.
Nice.
That was targeted. And should hit it, hopefully. And then we will see if we can get it to fly to the other targets too. Maybe it does this already. I think I implemented something for that. Then I need to think about what I will work on next.
Inverse kinematics.
Okay, no.
We have to do that some
Okay,
point.
we are
I started
done.
watching some videos for that.
We're done.
I also have a good paper.
Here, look at
A
this.
very simple paper.
Oh, nice, yeah. I saw it.
Wait, does it work correctly?
Nice.
Well, let me check again.
I mean, we could leave it on the enemy for a while, and then...
Yeah, I
think
feel
I
like
will
a little pause on the enemy sells the impact a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I want to work on the hit effects in general, so...
What I do like about the chakram is already how you solve the trail. It's clever.
Oh,
I must confess, I was looking for an for the effect, and I was like, goddamn, that's actually clever.
I actually need to look at this in slow motion. So first...
Yeah, for like locking onto it, I should probably just replay Kingdom Hearts 3 and record myself using the various modes there. They have a very nice hard lock. Ooh, get fucking dunked on. I mean, flipping. What happens if you shoot without marking an enemy? You shoot. You just shoot into the direction that you. Aim.
Well, you always mark one immediately. The marking only happens if you aim for a longer time. And I think I actually will increase this delay a little bit because, like, I think it happens a bit too much accidentally for my taste. And it's not like you're supposed to target a lot of enemies quickly. So you only do this in very specific situations. Not something you actually would do in combat normally, I think.
I mean, if you have some kind of animation, that probably also helps, right? When you see like a ring going, like snapping down or something, and then you know when it's snapped, it's locked in. But I agree with making it. Oh, that was cool. That looked cool. I just love how you can see the chakram coming back. Once it like, everything.
DHVM, yes, you can of course ask a question.
Sure.
Feel free.
Never showed me the mock of what happens? Okay.
Actually, something I still want to implement is that it doesn't immediately go from one of the next, but there's like a short curving phase where it essentially targets like in a small curve until it really points at the new target, then it goes into straight mode again. So that's something I want to do.
Good.
So
cool.
it's not so, then it will also feel more organic, I think.
Yeah.
Also like it just flies up now. Okay, thanks. What was this? Oh my gosh. Okay, there's some bugs actually here. Oh, actually, yeah. Oh, okay. Let me think. Yeah, I think I actually never empty this area after I actually push stuff. And this
so
might
it still has something in there.
Yeah, I think it might lead to weird issues. I think.
My friend is in the military. Will there be a sequel? before that?
There may not even be the main game out.
This is not a sequel to Crosscode.
Oh.
This is a new game. Like, there will be no Crosscode 2. Sorry to say. This game, I'm not sure if it's going to be out by... No, it's not going to be out by 2024. I can guarantee that. That's not what we planned for, yeah.
Definitely.
And you know how we are. We like to take our time with them details at some point. And really nail it down. I mean, you see Felix already. Like, it would be nice if there's a curve, right? And then we go do that, because that's how we work.
But there will probably be a playable version.
Sure.
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe.
It's in 2 years. I'm not sure if there's a public playable version already out then.
You think? I mean, if we really want to do early access, we should do it in 2024. 2024 or earlier. I mean, otherwise there's almost no point.
If we want to do this, I'm obviously for it. The cool thing is also that right now you're like only throwing chakrams, right? But obviously while the chakram's out, you can also do melee.
Yeah.
So you could theoretically throw that thing out. No,
Something about the... Oh, I get it. Obviously. Ah, man. I just messed up the targeting. I have to use unshift. Or I just go in reverse. I'm thinking.
What would it take to participate in that summer demo mumbo jumbo? I honestly wouldn't do that. I think that's good for new studios. I'd rather not be just another indie game in the sea of indie games and just have our own release schedule and say like, here's a demo right now. And the focus is then on our game, not on
I'm not necessarily sure. I mean, it makes sense to participate in events, I think. The thing is,
I mean, like, I'm just saying that some of the games is like games just go under there.
well,
it doesn't hurt too. So.
I mean, you can try. I don't think if you go under, you don't necessarily lost a lot, and there's a chance that you might actually get a lot of attention to those events. It depends. You have to find the right events, I guess.
Like this, I also feel like this Summer Games Fest just got screwed so heavily because they just showed some of these games in the Xbox Game Showcase, and obviously those get most of the attention, right?
Yeah.
And all the other games that were
I'm not gonna give you up.
more interesting. Yeah, I say that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good for Shaq. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it's good for especially like newer games that are from studios that you don't know. But it's really shitty when a company just gets picked up by Microsoft, gets a huge boost, and then is also put on top of Steam's games Nesfans, like the Hellsinger game, right? Just gets major clout through that, and then other games are less played because the Steam algorithm is basically the YouTube algorithm for games these days. where I literally had to go to like the 10th page to find some really cool stuff, because there was the popular stuff was at the front, the stuff we already knew about from the days before, from the showcases. And I always like the Indie Fest before that was better, because there was no event before that. It was just, hey, here are these randomly new indie games. We don't know how they are. You don't know how they are. Play them all. That was pretty cool.
All of them.
Yeah, I got some pretty cool stuff out of that, like Terra Neo, for instance, was in that one. Then the sorry, I have it on my wish list. I always need to check. There is no light. Ah, that's right. That's what it's called. There is
That's
no
bad.
light.
That's bad.
Yeah. Potion Permit. I also really liked.
Whatever. Just make it on shift.
The Tarnishing of Juxtia. Also, like, god damn, there are a lot of Metroidvania games, man. That genre is getting so many games right now.
Yeah, I mean, but that's been true for like quite a few years already, I think. So that's like. By the way, I did. Speaking about games, I finally took some time to play the Toho Metroidvania game, like Toho Luna Nights, and I beat it. And it's good. It's a good game. It's a very fun game. It makes good things, and it's good. It's a fun game. And fun fact, I beat it, and then I looked up how some like boss fights on YouTube, how they fought it. And then I saw some videos of like, oh yeah, boss fight, no hit, and not using those and those gameplay mechanics. And just take a guess who the person was who uploaded that.
Yeah, same. Who does all the no-hit things?
Same who also does like crosscode and stuff.
Yeah.
Gallot, I think was his name. Gallot?
Yeah, Gallot does a lot of these.
Yeah. It was really funny because like in Toho you have like those time stop mechanics and stuff, right? During battles and stuff, and also those grazing mechanic, not grazing, but grazing, like a grazing blow mechanics where you can regenerate like MP and HP by just by evading attacks like very closely. And he is basically just beats those games or those fights without using the time stop mechanics and special moves, despite the boss battles being clearly designed around time stop. But I mean, okay. He just be like that.
Whatever gets the job done.
Yeah, but it was a really fun game. I was a bit skeptical of some aspects of it early on, but it was really clever with like how the time stop is used, how the grazing mechanics work and stuff like that. It was fun. And I also played. I already told Felix and Flora, but I also played Vampire Survivor finally. And god man, this game sucks. Oh no, is at least what I thought in the first days. But then it became fun at some point when I got enough upgrades to offset the annoying random mechanics.
Yes. There's so much Sherlock in it.
Yeah.
There's a clear skill issue here.
No, I'm really good at the game at this point. But the random mechanics got a bit annoying at some point.
Sure.
Thing is, but I already fell out of the game already because I started playing a different game that is basically somewhat of a knockoff of the game, but it's better. So,
is it 20 minutes till dawn?
That's definitely a game name that exists, maybe. No, I'm only half kidding because I'm talking about this one clearly Vampire Survivors inspired HoloLive fan game that is for free and playable on itch, I think. And I'm not only
Yana
saying...
just tries to find a way to talk about his
Yes.
No, wait.
That's exactly
even
the
10.
problem.
Wait. Wait, this is not about that. And
That is clearly about that.
let me finish. Please let me finish. What did I say? Yes, of course, that is a certain factor for me liking that game. But, however, in other issues, I actually like certain gameplay aspects also better in that game, like how they handle like the item combinations and stuff like that. One thing in Vampire Survivor is that I sometimes feel like you're kind of getting railroaded into certain item combinations because you're basically forced to go for the evolution items all the time, because otherwise your build is basically
Now I know
screwed.
it's a skill issue.
I mean, it's basically how it is. If you don't have those very strong evolution items later, then you are much weaker, obviously, later.
Yes.
And
I mean, like, remember, this game is like a
it's early
student's
access.
hobby project.
Yeah, I can see that. It's
And it's like the literally probably made in a drunken weekend coding
I see
session.
that. But I
And then
respect.
sold for $1 on Steam. I wouldn't go
Bucks.
into big gameplay analysis in that game. You know?
Yeah, I know. And
It deserves the clout it has.
yes, Stefan,
Because-
yes.
It's simple, it doesn't cost much, and it's just fun.
It's fun.
But
Yeah.
yes.
It doesn't
but-
need to be better or worse or anything.
But consider that game that I was talking about is for free, and is also has those aspects, and I just like it more.
As of course,
Okay.
because it has waifus.
No,
in it.
that's
Get
not
it.
the point. That's not the main point. It's a bonus point, not the main point. I also think that the gameplay is more interesting, so I have more fun with it. Also, it has different characters, and those different characters actually play differently because they have different unique skills and stuff. Also,
Okay.
for some reason,
So you're saying there's another game that builds on another game, and you like that more.
yes, that's basically the main point I have.
But it still makes you sound like someone who's saying like, "Oh, the original sucked. There's actually a better version."
That's not the. I mean, as I said, I really liked Vampire Survivors after some point, but.
But yeah,
But now no, the but is not something to diminish the previous point. It's a but that talks about development in my personal life schedule, gameplay schedule, and the but means it's a nice but, a very good but. It means that I am playing a different game now, not the other game that I also like.
There's also a real, like, almost explosion of similar games right now.
Yes, because-
there was.
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like, this is just piggybacking on the success of Vampire Survivors. It just came in a time that was just perfect, and it's well deserved of its 98
That was
positive
awesome.
review. It has still overwhelming positive on 102,000 reviews.
That is true. There's also this different game because on the side, this HoloLive game references two games actually. It references Vampire Survivors and a game called Magic Survival. I think that's a mobile
Also-
game. It's
Also,
really
I
similar.
just want to add one point. There is no way in hell your game has a better chest opening cutscene than Vampire Survivors. There is just no way.
Yeah, I can give you that point maybe. That's a really good chest
That's just
opening.
maybe. That's just dopamine in picture form.
Yeah, but
Yep.
but what I can say is my game has better sprite art because it's made by Kai. How's he called again? God damn it, I forgot his.
Coyote.
KU. It's
I
like
don't.
this.
I don't know that person.
You should know him. He does very very good sprite
No,
art.
I don't know any artists.
You might know him because One made like this one reference, this one animation for him basically as a God damn it, you definitely know the guy.
You're just saying random words.
Can you spell it really quick?
It's gonna post it in Discord. Kinematic.
Ah, yes, of course.
He also did a lot of work for official anime, actually, for really high quality stuff.
Yeah, how should I know that?
Yeah, but you might know him from Vanam or because his
What is
sprite art.
Vanam?
The
Maybe-
dude who made animations for us.
The animated layer from the trailer. Like one here in Saarbrücken, actually.
But how
Nice.
should I know that he is acquainted to that person? I don't know their personal lives.
Yeah.
He made animation for him that looked very good, and it had
But how should I
Yeah, I don't see
How-
Stefan knowing this actually. So
I can see it, but everyone else here knows it. So you are
everyone knows
Everyone.
exactly what.
the guy also did a lot of sprite work for Way Forward, like for Shantae and River City Girls. So he does really good sprite art. That's undeniable. You can argue with his taste for VTubers, or that he likes VTubers at all, but his sprite art and other animation abilities are without reproach, I think, as Americans say, or British people.
Actually, looking at the game right now, I think it has the exact same quality as Vampire Survivors.
It's a bit it's difficult. I think the no, I disagree. I outright disagree.
It even has the same power-ups.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
the Bible.
Yeah, the power ups.
Bible, I see the whip.
Yeah, the power ups are definitely similar. I mean, not
There's
all
the
of them,
axe.
but the X works differently actually. The X doesn't work like the Castlevania X. It works more like the Death Sickles, but not as strong. Like the upgraded X.
But yeah, I really wanna tell you about 20 Minutes Till Dawn, because that's also I would call it the survivor game, like the genre, I guess. Vampire
Oh yeah,
Survivors.
that's a game where I literally won my first run.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen a few screenshots of that because the graphics.
I mean, you can make it harder later on, I think, and you can go for some really cool builds in that game, and it also looks really nice, I think.
Oh,
I
yeah,
actually
the
thought
com-
it looks. It takes its restricted color palette a little bit too serious, and
It looks.
this game was made in a cellar, because you can actually only see stuff in a cellar. If you're looking at if you're sitting in a room with light in it, you can't see in that game.
I can definitely.
You are only navigating by the white dots on the screen, but for some reason the developer was like, what if trees can hurt you?
Oh, nice.
But you can't see them sometimes, right? And
yeah.
how often I walked into something like in Vampire Survivors, you know that everything that's walking towards you will hurt you. But this game also is basically like a more like Series Sam, you know, where you have an active component that is less about your build and more about skill. So you shoot in that game, and you also reload.
Build is part of the skill.
Yeah, I mean, right, and
yeah, I just think it's different enough to separate from Vampire Survivors. It's also very cheap, like $3, I think.
yeah, the same thing. Yeah, it's a very cheap buy-in. That is correct. I have to be honest. I only played a few rounds before I was for some reason it's not good when you win with the first round, because then you're like, oh, I already locked into a good combo here. I already found what is very good.
Yeah, but there are many good builds.
Are there? Because
you can go for crazy stuff.
I looked at the options, and it kind of seems like you either go summon you go piercing. What I don't understand is why is piercing and bouncing on the same path? You know what I mean? Like, I would like to have bouncing bullets and not piercing, because if I have bouncing bullets and then piercing, then my bouncing bullets don't bounce into anything because they first pierce until they are outside the screen and they hit nothing.
Kovac asks, can that target be locked for not just single attack? No, it can't. I also don't think that would necessarily be a good idea, because I know, like, I don't know how to make this control scheme work, and honestly, I see those things for like very niche, like if you just want to kill things quickly, you don't use this feature. And this feature is used for very puzzle-specific things. You can use this in puzzle context, or for stuff like, there's a bomb, move this bomb to this enemy. Then you can use this, and then it makes sense, and you kind of like use this not in a mass fight context. Like, I might consider even saying that you cannot lock on any target, you can only lock on certain things, but, you know, like, maybe having in general might still be cool, because maybe people just find some stress that actually work for them using this.
And I definitely want to keep that in for some stuff. Like, one thing that we wanted to experiment too is that when you're aiming, time is slowed down.
Oh yeah, right.
That probably makes the aiming part also a little bit easier.
Yes, then you can actually
that's at least an
afford to do this,
accessibility option. Because like you can still see like this, I still think this combat is slower than what Crosscode was. Right?
Yeah, it is. I mean,
but it's still fast.
Yeah. I mean, we can also slow down the chakram, by the way. I mean, I already made it a little bit slower compared to
we could.
To the arrow.
Just experiment with that.
Yeah.
Why not? You could also make it like it's maybe a skill tree thing that it moves faster later in the game, because then you're more used to it, you know.
Yeah.
And it could feel like a cool upgrade. Or closer to max bullet time that you trigger yourself. No, it would automatically start when you start aiming, I think. But it's more, the idea is more to have it as an accessibility thing than a specific game feature, because we definitely got that feedback from Crosscode that the game got sometimes so hectic that for ranged builds it's like really hard to keep up with the action, and slowing down the time would help a lot.
It's funny though. You know, Crosscode is a very hectic game, but I actually want to show you something. Did you ever actually start a Crosscode battle and simply don't do anything? And just watch what the enemies are doing? It's fascinating.
Yeah, I know how the game, how the code works in the background, right? So
yeah, like because like the enemies, they're just standing around like half of the time, and it's funny because I recently gave some feedback to some other indie developers here in Saarbrücken, because they have like also kind of like an action game which is very kind of like in several ways it's similar to Crosscode, but it was extremely hectic, and I told them to just do this, essentially just start Crosscode, go into any battle, and just look how often the enemies are attacking, because in their game, the enemies just kept attacking, and like, this is chaotic. Like, okay, I'm gonna be dead here very quickly, let me just change the level.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Crosscode. Basically, from the beginning, that we have this kind of attack managing in the background, this attack frequency managing.
Yeah. Okay, so look how quickly those enemies attack. I can't play Crosscode anymore.
Yeah, I saw you wanted to dash.
Yeah.
Also, you in a late game area, it might not be the best showcase, but
yeah.
But Felix,
But even still, I always like knowing the gameplay system behind it. I also always felt like I am control of the fight because I knew, and like enemies are sitting on a global timeline, a timer and a local timer. So I knew they would attack one after the other, except if it's a combination attack.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the thing. Like you want to control like how quickly enemies attack. And like the system is even more flexible for Terra because actually have like a visualization for this. That's a nice thing. The frequencies. Like you can see like all of these bars are attacks of different tiers. Like those enemies actually only have one attack tier, the lowest one. So that's the only one that's important. Like whenever an enemy attacks, his bar is empty, so it needs longer for it to refill to attack again. But at the same time you have a global counter, and while this here is there can't be another attack of this tier. And now it's filled, now the next one can attack. And it's this one, and you see, okay, now this bar is empty, and it does the attack. And now the next one, there's another timer here, it's full again, and now this one does the attack. So that's how it works. And the nice thing about the system now is that we can configure for each enemy how the frequencies develop. Like for bigger enemies and boss fights, we can say that their frequency isn't impacted that not much by other enemies, so they always attack roughly the same speed. But if you have like mass enemies that you attack in 10 or 20s, you want to make sure the frequency only increases a little bit when there's more enemies, otherwise it very quickly becomes unplayable. In CrossCode actually it had a system like this, but the way the timers worked was kind of like wasn't really optimal, because the timing actually didn't start, only started after the end of the attack. And during the length of the attack, the timer was essentially not well defined. So that actually made a lot of things weird. So that made it difficult to properly scale the timing if they had a lot of enemies. So in practice, we actually added a lot of workarounds in CrossCode to make mass fights feasible. Sorry, I cannot play CrossCode anymore. Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is we decided to switch the control scheme.
Different, yeah.
I mean, honestly,
you dash with the space button now.
Yeah, like you know how most games do it. Honestly,
Yeah.
The thing is, like we went with a more normal control scheme. So if you want to play Project Terra, make sure to play some, I don't know, more normal action games like, I don't know, Hades, for instance. I think does it similar.
Felix, I'm just, yeah.
And then you get used to, yes, Ro, nice shirt. Thanks again for the amazing shirt. Then you're more used to the Terra control scheme compared to when you play CrossCode.
I'm just glad that you could open CrossCode without spoiling our next update.
What? Hannah,
Just kidding.
there's no next stop it! No! Hannah, you didn't keep working on your update, didn't you?
I actually fixed 2 typos that I found on Discord like a few days ago.
Great work, Hannah.
Maybe I feel like we should just ban Hannah from the bugs section in CrossCode.
I will just throw Hannah out of the CrossCode repository. So I can't comment anymore.
You can't push anymore.
I have to wait for the next Cross Week to make the push.
Then you just go to.
He's developing a shadow branch.
USB stick and put it on my laptop, and then you add VTubers to my bookmarks.
Yeah, no, Felix. The VTubers are just like camouflage distractions, so you don't realize that I uploaded a new version of CrossCode. No, but in all honesty, I think CrossCode is now perfect. It's a perfect game. There are no more bugs that are relevant.
Yeah. There's a question by the survivor. Can you manually jump in Terra, assuming that's even been decided? Something like this. We decided that the dash button that you also had in CrossCode actually now is your jump button. So you actually, when you are close to an edge and you don't jump, you don't dash, you will actually stop and you need to press for some time until you jump down. And if you press space, you do the jump. So that's a big difference. So it's not really a jump button, even though if you don't do anything and you press it, you jump. It's more like we mix the dash and the jump button. So yeah.
You also need to it takes a bit getting used to get really flowy with it, because you can't just coyote time dash jump, because that will make Juno stop for a short time. So you have to kind of dodge or dash at the right timing if you want to like really flowy jump from stone to stone.
Okay.
You see that more puzzly sections where you kind of want to go in one smooth motion, and you have to really already at the like a tile before you are at the ledge, basically. Dash.
That's coyote time, yeah.
I mean, there is actually coyote timing, ironically.
Yeah, there's coyote timing, but Juno stops. If you just run to a ledge, then she will always stop, right?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to coyote time jump, like in Super Mario, where you run off a ledge, start to fall, but you can still jump.
Oh.
You know, Juno stops, but Mario didn't stop, right? Because we wanted to make sure that you don't accidentally fall down, which still makes sense, like in combat. And maybe we'll add an option for people who are like, I don't need this. That would make it smoother, but it just takes some time getting used to. Like, I got used to it after a while. You just have to know that you dash a little bit earlier, and then you get a smooth flow into that.
Just for your information, I posted this one terrible typo in Discord. It's one of those typos that I do all the time. It's I do that all the time because it makes no sense in English. You always do those how do you say it in English? Apostrophe.
Noun for it is many ponds and ruins. This area is the little. I mean, actually, it almost makes sense, because noun for it is many ponds and ruins.
Well,
Es ist bekannt for it is. I mean, this is almost correct English, I think.
That's true. It's not bad.
Yeah, also, that's definitely I'll do this all the time. This is written by me. I know it because it's an error.
Yeah, but it happens to me also all the time. It's like
I'm stupid like that.
Because it makes no sense. In English, you always put the apostrophe to show ownership, but for some reason, for this pronoun, you don't do it.
Yeah. Because I know, it's too common.
I mean, it makes sense in a way because it's kind of like him and hers or something. So it's like not the same. It's like, but it's still stupid, and it's stupid because it's from America, and it also is stupid. Just like abortion bans.
Trust me, in German we have.
We don't have stupid grammatical rules in German. They all make sense and they're all easy to learn.
With some real stupid shit.
I think I tried to explain neue and alte Rechtschreibung to some friend of mine.
But that's actually a good thing. Like this is
I
showing
agree.
how the German government said like, oh, our new writing system didn't work, and they immediately got it and changed it again, and that was great.
I agree.
When the double S didn't work that well, and the S said they were like, all right, let's just do one S or double S and then be done with it.
And some people still complain about this.
Yeah, like old people, as always.
Old people, yeah.
Actually, it's kind of funny. I know like a person who isn't actually that much older than I am, maybe a year or so, and he doesn't like the new Neue Rechtschreibung. And I really don't care, because I think it's because I mostly learned how to spell things properly after I went to school, ironically, because I was very bad at school, particularly about spelling. I was really bad. you know, from my early RPG Maker games, right, the spelling was horrible. Actually learned Spanish because people has been complaining about my bad spelling in RPG Maker games. So I really learned spelling with Microsoft Word and just
the
paying
harsh
attention.
RPG Maker.
And that's actually
environment.
because like everything about this was about neue Rechtschreibung, was new spelling, and so I was used to that. So I didn't care, like it was fine with me from the beginning.
I mean, I think the new spelling was introduced when I was at some point in elementary school, elementary school, I think. So,
It is, I was like I still remember the transition.
Yeah, but it was
And
very early.
Like my grandma always says like, "Thank goodness." Yeah, I remember her saying like, "Oh, I don't have to remember that weird symbol anymore. Like we have that S."
Yeah, the S set.
But like it's something where I always felt like these are cool steps where you just say, yeah, why do we even do that still, right? Like just accept the fact that it's easier if we have one S or twice the S.
We still have S set for certain words.
Yeah. But
not
it's more clear now, I would say.
And also,
Why we tend to use the S set there.
there's also some stuff like that certain words are just written so much easier than before, like and that you just use an F instead of a PH for stuff, like for elephant or something, or photo.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Germany, we had like a photo, which was PHOTO.
Yeah, like the English word, kind of, ironically.
Yeah, like the English word, and then like the government said like, oh no, neue Rechtschreibung. We'll just say F. We spell it that way anyway. It makes sense.
Yeah. Also, kind of different topic, but I talked with some Dutch Discord friend of mine. Talked about some Dutch stuff. I don't know how we came to that. And then we talked about Smash Brothers and Smash Brothers names. And you know, in Dutch they have like the villager is called the Dorpsbewohner, which is always very funny. And then I realized again, man, it's pretty funny how in German, in the German Smash, you have like two.
Ken is gone. He's out.
Yes. No.
Well, I can say I'm that's completely different topic, but I'm continuing playing Great Ace Attorney, and I played through the 8th case now, and that one was finally like a really like a tough or hard one that you couldn't really predict early on or something.
I mean,
It's that way, and we never will do it differently.
I definitely predicted.
Yeah, sorry. It doesn't matter. It wasn't that important. I just want to say it's funny that we have Finsterer Pit and Dunkle Samus, but it's like it's all dark in English. And also, why do we have Daraen? It's stupid. It's
well,
Robin.
yes, but I mean, in English, they just use the same word with two meanings.
No.
We have two words for two meanings.
And also, I think it's also because in the original games they were also already called like that. So they are just using the more fitting word because it's tradition for those games. But it still doesn't explain Daraen. It's stupid. He was called, or they were called Robin in the original. It's also Daraen.
Yeah, that is such a distance they walked. It's not like Ruffy. Like, did you know that in Germany we did the very stupid move to assume that the Germans wouldn't like to spell the name Luffy. So the German translation of the character Luffy is called Ruffy.
Yeah, but they also did it. They also did it in America actually, and in English.
What?
And
Why?
I mean, do we in Germany also say Solo?
We also say Sasuke to Sasuke in Naruto, which is like there's an entire letter just getting smushed in there.
Yeah, but
When they listened to the Japanese, they were like, nah.
No, but seriously, does the German translation say Zoro or Solo in One Piece?
No, his name in German is also Zorro.
Yeah, but that's correct. In English, it's even worse because he spelled Solo for some reason.
Yeah, I mean his name is Rono Zorro.
Yeah, but it's pretty obvious that it's a reference to Zorro, and that's what it's meant. And in English they say Solo, which sounds really dumb.
Yeah, because you know why? Because in his name in Japanese has an R in it, right? And they thought like, oh, we switched that L to an R, and now we gotta switch that R to an L, I guess.
I mean, there's no real distinction between R and L in Japanese.
That's the thing.
That is true, but still, I think like Luffy and Ruffy are different names.
That's
Ruffy-
true, but I
Ruffy
actually
always-
never minded Ruffy because I don't know.
I always-
sounded
He's
fitting.
such a ruffian.
No, I always like felt like he's a monkey character. Why does he have a dog name? That was always my question about him. Like,
Kinda
why is
true.
like his grandpa is a dog, but he's a monkey. Clearly, he's inspired by monkey business all the way through. He has even monkey in his name.
He also has a D.
And I only learned through the manga that his name is Luffy. I was like, oh god damn, what else did they change? Usopp is Lysop. God damn it, come on, German.
But I think
Lysop, I actually don't mind Lysop too because
it does sound kind of
similar enough,
piratey.
and it's
sound-
easier to understand in German than Usopp.
So, yeah, and I think they also use it in English. I'm not sure. They changed a lot of stuff. I like.
But I think like why not stay like true to the names? Yes, the names are weird, but names are always weird. Like as an American, try to say my name, right?
Stefan?
Yeah, like yeah, you are German, you can say my name, but
You mean Stefan? Yeah, okay.
Stefan
Because
is
there's
like
no
Steven.
yeah, right, it would be Steven, but not really though, right? Because there's a different meaning, right?
Fun fact, I really like a bit of Bailey saying, do they say Raffia to the German, to the SNES RPG? Raffia. But yeah, it was pretty funny. And I think,
Lysop also fits because it kind of sounds like it has a
Wow,
bit
okay,
of
now this is
Lüge
really cool.
with the Lü in there. So
Stefan with a PH. Stefan.
Stefan.
Yes, please never write me with a PH. Like I hate that shit, man. Another step 10.
Oh no.
I'm a Stefan.
Stefan, you don't like to sit? You don't like to
I
sit
like
well.
to stand.
You're like
I'm
the
a standing fan, you know.
you're like the antithesis to sit well, our crosscode villain.
Guys, look at this. I actually have now curves.
Yes, that's good, Felix. I like
Finally, you gained some weight.
oh, that looks so cool. Damn.
Most popular weapon. Right away. Calling it.
that one.
Nah.
Yeah.
The most popular weapon will clearly be the Tonfa.
Well,
What
okay.
else?
Popular range weapons. So.
No, so
That's the karma.
the most popular range weapon.
Look,
would
you
be-
know exactly that you're close to death now. I like it. I really like the effect. I really love
Yeah, it's good. It's very nice. I like it too. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
For Felix, what stuff did you need to learn at /use to build tools for crosscode, entity editor, animation editor, etc.? Are they all just web apps?
In our case, yes.
That's all there is to say. Yes.
Can you explain what you did to make those curves work? Because now I'm interested, but I didn't pay attention to your coding.
We have a rotate towards method, and it's like an old method we ported from crosscode, and it's very simple. You have a vector, you give it another vector, and you specify how many degrees it may rotate in this frame, which is usually some kind of value multiplied by the tick. And then it just rotates this vector to get closer to this vector without going beyond it. So if it goes beyond that, it will be equal to this vector. And also returns true in that case, so you know you actually now reached your pointing at your target. And then I just execute this every frame for a certain amount of time until it's done, and then that's it pretty much.
That it's
Also,
void
it's
behavior. It's the same technique used to align like flock simulations, right? Where everything aligns to a certain target.
I mean, that's
rotates
the same
towards the
thing we
target.
use for all kind of dashes in crosscode, so it's
Right. Yeah.
I think I actually make the rotate timer a bit lower. I think they rotate a little bit too much if they can't reach the target, and I don't like that, so just rotate for a short time. That should be enough. They rotate very quickly.
But to your point, Jock, what you kind of need to learn to build tools is just coding and some UI design, and that comes with experience, I guess. Like this isn't our first rodeo, so we already know the pitfalls, I would say, that we had with crosscode. I personally also came from a background of UI development, which didn't help when you do an actual production thing, because then you notice, oh, all these features are things that you need doing production, and right before that I was always, oh, this cool UI thing is doable. Oh, look at that animation.
Yeah.
And then when you go about being production, you say like, oh, what about undo redo, right? That's something you was a big point for you, Felix, that you did with Project Terra, like a really robust system that allows us to do undo and redo
For everything, essentially.
for everything, which is, by the way, amazing, super easy to use, and in parts works just automatically with the base editors.
Unless something is broken, then it's panic.
Yeah, then it's fear.
Because if like something is wrong, your entire history might be broken, and then whoops.
Yeah,
But anyway, I mean, I thought a lot about the system. So, and it's like it was also extended in many ways, and like at the beginning you didn't have the option to add changes, so you can have like you can put several changes together, and once this was implemented, you could just do whatever you wanted, and that was really
that is.
Since
like
then we didn't have to really change the system anymore. Like everything worked with it since then.
Yeah, imagine you had like the importer, right? The importer tracks every height change it does. It tracks every entity it adds, and every plane, every swap, every top tile. Imagine everything would be a single step, and you just have to mash Control Z if you did something you didn't want to. But now if you import, you can see the import, and you can press immediately Control Z or Control Y to go forward and backward, and it's like super fast. You know, the only thing that takes time is like rebuilding the tiles.
Oh no!
Adding entities.
I lost my chakram. Oh no!
It's gone. It's
what
stuck
happened?
in that enemy.
No, it's where is it gone? No.
What?
Oh, no.
It's like legitimately gone.
My chakram is gone.
Oh! New feature, trauma weapon loss.
Oh.
We're building
Shit.
Breath of the Wild. Your chat room is broken.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a few more questions, and I also wanted to say, you should test it with gamepad too.
Yeah, definitely. I gotta
It
go
does,
for a bit.
yeah, I should try this
Be right back.
gamepad. Good
Don't
idea.
worry, I will extensively. I already played it with
I did
with
try it
gamepad.
with gamepad when I was implementing it.
Yeah, like I already play. I mean, I only test with gamepad these days.
Yeah.
I have to be honest.
Wow. Okay, the proxy is it's just. Okay, thank you.
What's the difference between a small target and a large target on an enemy? Or it's just when it is a
Yeah.
large target, it's like locked in, and it will like bounce between these enemies, you know. I mainly just know basic HTML and a good bit of JS, but I'm not sure I'm missing something. I mean, don't do what we did, alright? Don't build an RPG. We come from the background of RPG Maker, so we knew we needed content creation tools, and we had background in it, and we also in the beginning we used Impact.js, which came with the Weltmeister. That's why we still call it Weltmeister as a tribute. But the Weltmeister from Impact is kind of the basis, right? And we based everything off of there, off of that. And it kind of like grew from there. So don't get overwhelmed by this. This is like
Yeah.
we learn from our mistakes, and
I have to play something really important though, just because Hannah was playing bullshit, so I'm gonna skip this now and play something good.
Okay. The first thing I did
admin
when I
power.
came here to Toronto was
F
I
in
ordered
chat cram.
myself a double Big Mac, because double Big Macs you can only get in
And then there was
Canada,
also
and also
a
it was
question:
like
is
1
there usually
o'clock
some sort
in
of
the
framework you
morning.
use?
Turns
Yeah, I
out
said
when
we
you
used
eat
Impact.js,
a
and
double
then
Big
we
Mac
basically
at
rebuilt
1 in the morning,
everything
and also a McChicken, then you feel
over
really
time,
bad
like
about
kept
yourself
changing things to suit
afterwards,
our
and your
needs.
stomach
And
really hurts. So afterwards, I took
with
a
this,
fat shit.
we started not really from scratch. Like we used a lot of crosscode things, but the editor system is kind of started from scratch. You could easily could say that there's like a new way how the HTML is created, right? This uses a lot of editors are classes, and when an editor is shown, only then it builds its HTML, and only when it is shown, it's also attached. There are some cases where that isn't the case, where it's like attached but display is none. And when display is none on a parent element, then it's very optimized in HTML. So you don't have to worry if it's in the DOM.
I also posted the link to Impact.js. You can download it there for free. It's
It's for free
rather
now.
small engine, and even if you don't use it, I think you can like learn from it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But if you're ever going to make a game, don't make an RPG.
I mean,
Unless you already have like made
come on.
stuff.
If people really want to make RPGs, they should make RPGs, because I mean, honestly, that's what we did. So it's kind
We
of like
did that, yeah. That is
just
true.
be aware
That's why
that
I'm
it
saying
takes
don't
time.
do it.
It's I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
long
that's
journey,
the
but I
point.
mean, if people really want to do this, because honestly, I wouldn't have gone into game development if people told me don't make RPGs, because that's what I really wanted to make. And in the end, you should create something that you want to create. That's the most important thing. And it's just like, be aware that RPGs are work. That's just a reality. So I mean, one good compromise is make small RPGs. I mean, you can actually make small RPGs. They don't have to be Final Fantasy scope. So that would be a start, right?
You mean like in story scope and
Yeah,
graphics?
try to make the smaller stories. Don't think too much about like long storylines, and keep playtime to around 20 minutes. 20 hours, I'm sorry, 10 hours. That's kind of almost realistic, at least. Still ambitious, but
something I would like to, if you want to make RPGs, hack in as Bailey says, use that RPG Maker toolchain, because it is really nice for making RPGs. I imagine it still is. You can build some cool stuff with that, right? Because it has like all the things you need: item management, like characters, maps, a combat system. And then it's scriptable, so you can go ahead and say like, oh, I want my own menu.
Yeah. Honestly,
or like
RPG Maker...
Or like Felix did it in Terra's Adventure. I want my own menu, but also the standard menu.
Honestly, yeah, new RPG Makers are much better scriptable compared to like the old ones. So...
The new ones you can do everything. Like in the old ones, you were like, you couldn't change the battle system. You had to do your everything on your own. Like you had to basically teleport the player to a separate map, for instance. Is what I think most of us did, right? With their own battle systems. And like show pictures, of which we only had 20 for arbitrary reasons. There was like. I remember Cherry was like, yeah, this is just arbitrary. I can unlock that easily. Like, he was like, yeah, if you want 100, sure. If you want 200, no problem. But I mean, like, you can do amazing things with just show picture at a certain location. Like, I remember, like, Felix, his like main game, Velzabor, had some amazing attack animations entirely made with show picture, move picture.
Yeah.
And obviously effects.
Honestly, if you already have a software background, I think the most important thing is if you start off is just work with a game engine. Because any kind of game engine, because you get an idea how to structure things in a meaningful way. And for us that was pretty much RPG Maker. We learned engine stuff from RPG Maker. And it's a good engine for making simple RPGs, and you can take that and kind of take this as an inspiration for a structure you can use for your own game if you want to create a more custom engine. I mean, that's actually something I wouldn't recommend unless you really like programming a lot. But still, I mean, the minimum is at least to have used a game engine.
Yo, the RPG Maker 2003, which is inferior to the 2000 version, by the way. Just objectively. No, it's not. Don't listen to me. It's like, but it is currently on offer, like minus 90%. It's a steal. Dude. And that Cherry actually did work on that? I didn't know that.
I'll be back in a second.
I actually talked with Sherry recently. Sherry is in the German RPG. I can see it. He included the coloration for code for script language. Damn, that's so cool.
Yep, he did some really nice work. Actually, met him last week. We played games together, and went to the zoo.
Okay.
Wait, you went to the zoo, played games together?
I visited for a few days, and he visited.
Okay, something
too,
is still off.
And we did stuff together.
But yeah, he is like an absolute hella smart kid, man. Holy hell.
Yeah.
He is super smart, and he basically hacked the RPG Maker back in the day and added features to it. Like stuff like you couldn't really like point to pictures by a variable name, so he built something for us to do that. Heaven sent.
Yeah, he's also very nice, super helpful person. He loves to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I remember when I asked him, hey Jerry, is it possible to colorize the scripting language? And he was like, oh, I don't know, that sounds pretty hard. You know, and I thought like, all right, okay, he's not going to try. And then he came back like, oh yeah, I actually found a way. And I was like, God damn it. He went ahead and did it anyway.
Yes.
I love it.
Mm.
So nice.
Okay, there's still some issues. Something doesn't seem to work, but I think I'm getting close.
I'm looking at some screenshots of the RPG Maker.
I want to ask, if you recall the chakra, could you also use the turning for that?
After what? Yes, I tried this and it sucks because it makes it go in a way that you don't hit enemies twice, and that is really annoying actually. You want it to go to an enemy and back again, and if it turns, it doesn't do this, and that's why it sucks. Like, and that's one of these things where gameplay is more important to me than visuals. Like, I want it to move in a way that's, yeah.
If you tried it already, that's totally fair. If not, I wanted to ask if you could try it just to see what happens.
Yeah.
How does it feel right now? How does it feel right now to use it? Is it like...
It's fun.
What are you tweaking currently?
I don't know, I'm not tweaking anything. I'm just playing around
Just
with it.
playing around with it and see if it feels good.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, I know why it doesn't hit targets, and it's annoying. Because it has a callback feature. It's actually by design. Like, when I aim while it's flying, it's coming back quicker. And I'm actually thinking of disabling it if it has any target that it still wants to reach, because like I was expecting it to hit all the targets and then fly back to me, but because I was pulling it back without noticing it, it didn't hit the final target. And I don't know, like, we had this idea that you intentionally cancel its flight for puzzle stuff, but you know, maybe we don't need this. I don't know.
I mean, if it flies so fast, it's hard to time anyway, right?
That's true, yeah. And you actually want to make it fly somewhat fast. If it's too slow,
That's true.
and there's still a lot of nice puzzles you can make just with the auto aiming. Doesn't need to interrupt feature, because then let me quickly fix this. It's actually very easy to change this.
But auto aiming makes the
as we
game...
said earlier, like, we can try making it fly slower, maybe less far when you don't hit anything and don't target anything.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, if you don't have a target and you throw it, right, it can fly very far out of the screen.
Then
Maybe
you can
if it
always
doesn't
recall it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can always recall it, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the trick. You can always recall it at the end. But if there is another target that you locked on as well, then it should always hit this target and only come back after that. Because otherwise it might be unexpected for players, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with that. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was really thinking, what if you just throw into it without like hard blocking? Just throw it into the direction very quickly of an enemy. Then it goes through the enemy, but it doesn't go as far as if you would throw it just anywhere. I think it's fine. Like, if you just throw it and don't aim at anything and it goes off screen, I don't think that's a problem.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you can always call it back in that case. Again,
Yeah, exactly.
It only keeps flying when you actually have it locked on the target. Actually, incidentally, there's still like a bit of an issue that it can actually lock on enemies which are pretty far out screen, out of the screen. That's something I should fix. So make sure that you can only lock on stuff.
That was the bug you had earlier, right? Where you were aiming up and then suddenly it moved up.
No, I don't know. I still don't know what that was, honestly. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that was the issue.
Okay.
By
Like
the way,
this-
you could try it with the moths too, right?
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea.
Moths are actually a good example because they are not bound by the they're not glued to the ground, right? So they move up and down too.
And that's interesting to test, definitely.
Yeah,
Because there might be weird issues with this too, and I think I might have to limit the way the projectile Z targets, because right now it just Z targets in how much at once, and this might lead to weird issues where it just keeps flying up and all this. So yeah, these things take time to get right. Okay, let's go to the cave and see how buggy this thing is.
Also, now that I see when you break them, it looks really nice because the game slows down a couple of times.
Yeah. I mean, we had the same effect in Crossco when you had like a bomb and you broke like several enemies with this.
That's true.
I always loved this.
Also, yeah, Baileys, that's the usual programmer move, right? When somebody comes to you and asks, "Can you implement a feature?" You first say, "No, it's not possible. Hard to do. I could do it because I'm such an amazing programmer, but it's so hard, and it takes so much time." And then 3 minutes later, you say, "I did it."
Okay, works.
Are you guys gonna do some kind of indicator if range projectile is off screen?
Holy shit! It's too powerful. This thing, it just hits everything. Holy shit! Stop.
It's a powerful slicing tool.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I also think the break power of that is probably pretty high,
I
right?
think it's like has a lot of break power. That's part of why it's so powerful.
It hits twice sometimes, so...
So you could say the chakram is pretty broken.
Oh, I get it, Hannah. I get it. I got you.
Damn. It's such a nice weapon, though, man.
Just so you understand, it's like totally game development terminology, lingo, as you might say. That is way too powerful. Could also apply to a skill or a tactic.
I'm actually really excited to make sounds for that. Yeah.
Someone called a car. Which car?
The car. It's a BMW.
You mean get in the car?
Honestly, it looks powerful though. With the arrow, those were already dead, I think.
That is true. Yeah, you can just wait before they
It's
attack.
like it's a lot of fun, but I don't think it's as overpowered as it looks.
Yeah, I mean you're supposed to break them quickly, right?
I mean, at least you cannot fast forward.
You could like maybe make it so that enemies that, like for instance the moth, it breaks on piercing attack while it charges, but it doesn't immediately break when you hit it with a slicing attack.
Sure.
Slash attack.
Yeah. Actually, I think
And
that is actually the case. I think I'm not sure. No. Yeah.
I think they are immediately broken when they charge. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best attacks are the ones that
Honestly,
look
we
way
just
more
have to make
powerful than
them. Yeah, we just have to make them less vulnerable to slicing attacks. That's all. For instance, I mean, it's a
damage
balancing
dealt with
issue.
each. Yeah, that's also something. Like each consecutive hit should get weaker.
Yeah. That's probably
Now
something
that I see
will
the
do.
C, I think I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Actually, we were thinking in the beginning like it should get stronger, but nope.
I never thought that, honestly.
I remember I even wrote that into the spreadsheet.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and we said before that there could be a skill or gem or something that changes that.
I would limit this for special attacks, but for
Yeah,
regular
but-
attacks you really want like you don't want a positive feedback loop like this. It's like it really becomes uncontrollable.
But yeah, that will nerf it a lot.
Imagine a special attack that just auto aims everything on screen. Throws the chuck out.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh.
That would be so overpowered, but really fun.
In fact, it would just be like a super big hit circle. It just hits everything, right?
Yeah.
Just wouldn't be much cool. It just would be much cooler.
But actually, a special could be that the shotgun goes through an enemy several times. I think that could be cool.
That would be one strong. That would be the powerful special attack. You could do that. Then you can't multi-target with that special attack.
But I mean, when the enemies around it are close, they get hit. They could be hit too.
But you don't want that. You want to differentiate between. But like, think about the input control when you hold the charge button.
Yeah, you only select one enemy and it goes through it. But while it goes through it several times, it can hit other enemies too that are in the way.
Well, it works really well already, actually. We still had this one issue where the chakram just disappeared, but actually now, like, I just have to make a fail save, like, if it's killed for whatever reason, and in that case it just sets itself to be back to the player, and then you just suddenly can use it again, so that is a solution to at least stop the game from breaking. But yeah. Actually, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do, honestly. So obviously the whole multi-aiming interface looks like crap. I mean, honestly, the whole aiming itself also doesn't look really how it should be.
Yeah, we can talk about like HUD elements at some soon. I would love to work on better HUD integration. I probably, like, after I'm done with a few more maps, I'm like, give me some code.
That's true.
But right now I'm enjoying it. Like on Monday I already have a few tasks for T3.
Oh no.
I need like there are things in the environment that are some that I think would be nice to have for puzzle design and stuff. Right now I'm using lots of Bob entities to construct things. And some nodes here and there. I know you are UX if you need a contract. Was that definitely different? I think we're good on that front. Like, we have enough artists. When it comes to UX, I just love to do that shit. Oof.
This is so much fun. Even though it's a stupid way. I mean, this is honestly much faster. Just throw it over and over again. That's like most effective thing. Like, again, the multi-aiming, it's fun, But I think it's actually not really practical for a lot of combat applications. Like just throwing like this is better.
situational. Yeah, I would agree. Like you can with gems and stuff like that, you could make it more interesting, give it more uniqueness. But and it is used for puzzles, right?
Yeah, and some enemies again they can have weak points which are useless in particular, and might be useful for them to break enemies. Okay, now
yeah, especially if you can transport entities with it.
Yeah, like bombs and all that. So I think this is still something where this is really useful. Woo. I think I still need to do something that it doesn't rotate as quickly in circles. And I have an idea how to do this.
Oh yeah, I
Is
saw
it just on my screen, or does the blue head check thingy not look very blue?
No,
It could be just my screen.
I think it looks blue. It's a little bit.
It's a little purple, right?
Yeah.
In there, but otherwise it's very...
Let's just kill things.
It's the same as the.
Oh man,
one
dip it.
in
Am I dead?
Crosscode,
Almost.
which was also not blue but purple. People saw their favorite
was a close
punching
one.
bag. Whoa, you're one hit away. Oof. Wow,
Easy.
okay, that was a really close dash. And there's no iframes right now, right? So, no.
There is
iframes.
Is there? No?
There's no iframes. I didn't implement a proxy. Yet, there's like
I
parry, you
mean,
can parry
there's invincibility.
when you dash.
Yeah, I think there might be, but I'm not sure.
Okay, then you have to implement it, because I didn't.
I think I implemented it, but it doesn't have this proxy thing. Okay, I did it.
Nice. Good job.
Very good.
Yeah, obviously, like, it's a balancing thing where you need to,
Yeah.
like...
Make it so it cancels enemies' attacks if you choose to lock. Well, maybe it could be. Maybe it could be a little bit just stronger or heavier hit.
That is...
that lock's way too powerful, because you can use the lock at any time. It shouldn't be too powerful. I think it's fine if it's not quite as
longer,
useful.
right?
I mean, that's true, yeah.
It takes
There's
longer,
a
but
trade-off.
still you don't want to just cancel enemy actions with that. Where like
No. I just think maybe could be a counterbalance for it taking longer. It could
I
be a little
mean,
bit
we
stronger,
could have a
but
charged
effectively it's the
chakram,
same.
right?
it's not though, right? When you just the wait time is not the only variable that's at play. It's also is
I mean, in the
enemy
end-
currently-
Yeah, like I wouldn't say interrupting more. But yeah, I mean, saying that it does more damage if you charge it for a longer time. I mean, in the end, we want to implement charging projectiles, and that's an option for the chakram as well.
Yeah.
That you can simply say there is an option to charge it up, and that makes like the multi-aiming actually more useful, because you can charge it up and you say if it's charged up, it does more damage to more enemies, and then it actually makes sense to use one charged attack where you have to wait in any case and just make sure you can hit it with hit multiple enemies with it at the same time. And then I think it's kind of like it might kind of like even out, so it's about as good as just keeping throwing small projectiles, maybe even better if you do it well. So yeah, that might be an interesting use case actually.
But as you can see, chat, Project Tyro slowly is becoming
Oh,
Devil May Cry RPG.
I can imagine, like, you charge your chakram, you hit multiple targets. When it comes back, you hit the timing thing, so and throw it again, and you have a little combo of both moves.
Well,
Wait, explain again.
You charge it first, like imagine you start a fight, so you can charge your chakram in peace, and as soon as it comes back, you catch it and do the timing thing. So you throw it immediately again, and do a little combo with that.
There's a question by first time viewer Gishko. What game engine is this? This is a custom game engine based on web technologies. So, yeah, it's custom. It's was
It's
like
called the Bob engine.
yeah, the Bob engine.
Radical Bob.
Felix,
Mm-hmm.
you should really like upgrade our Twitch a little bit, because I have some ideas we can do.
Upgrade? In what way?
For example, we can do some channel points things. I would also add some commands. For example, !engine, and then that question can be answered like a bot or default answer.
I think we had a bot for stuff like this. I'm not sure if it's still active though.
And
Some Nightbot or something like this? I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I think it was Nightbot. To be honest, bot management is super hassle.
yeah, but I would do it.
Oh no,
I
it's
would
gone
go
again!
ahead.
Ah! It happened again, shit.
Put a little bit of work in it, do some things. Maybe we can make the soundbot work too
Switch
again.
weapon?
And-
Switch element? Oh, never mind.
I don't know why
I
it
think-
happens, but I'm sure we'll find a way to fix this.
I think it could be really fun to have chat play sounds with the channel points.
No, don't. Please don't have these weird.
Not so sad.
This is always super annoying in any stream I see it. It like is a super turn off when chat can decide what sound is being played.
You know what's even worse? I think people don't really do that anymore, but those messages that you can basically type out and let some bot voice speak.
Oh, people still do that, and I
Really?
also hate
Really?
it. Like,
Oh no. It's so
I mean,
bad.
our chat is well behaved.
yeah,
You
that's
think
what
that.
you think that not at some point people would come out, and even then, having random sounds being played, I don't think it's very fun, right? If it's on a pun, right? Like Hannah does that, right? He makes
Right.
a fitting sound because
Yes.
he can do it very quick. And we already moved. Imagine you talk about something, our conversations go very fast, and chat is on a delay, right?
And even I often took way too long.
Out of nowhere, a sound plays.
Yeah, and even we don't even use those sounds anymore. And yeah, it's like those very good, not good enough sounds. By the way, it's already 11 o'clock, Felix.
Yeah,
What's
I need to
going
stop.
on?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just,
I'll. By the way, guys, I will be going. It's past my bedtime.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just throwing check rounds. I can't stop. Oh, I'm dead.
So
Okay.
have fun
Um,
talking about anime.
No, I
Watching
think
anime? No, what? No, you wanted to do something, right? Watch anime?
not today.
Not today, maybe,
Oh,
but
not today.
I actually
Tomorrow.
wanted tomorrow, Felix.
Actually, I'm not
Do-
sure I have
do you
time
get-
tomorrow evening. We may have to postpone this to Monday or something.
Okay.
That's okay.
Monday.
That's fun too.
Yeah. Anyway, was a good stream. Was a productive stream, I would say. It's always
Yes.
fun working on these things, actually. So
Yes, gameplay code was so much fun. Holy shit.
yeah, if it works out, I mean.
Yes, I want to continue doing parry stuff too, but I have to do mapping. It's important.
Okay, now we have did our tradition right, or how do you say it? I don't know, like the proper song.
Outro. Pre-outro thing.
Yes.
Okay. Good night, RD. Good night, Stefan.
Stefan.
Good night.
There's actually a bit of anime talk that I want to talk about.
Hmm.
Well, it's
You can
rather
talk
manga
about
talk.
it quick.
It's actually 2 new chapters of Berserk released, made by the team of the deceased author.
Hmm. Again, what?
Felix, be more excited. This is Berserk, for fuck's sake. 2 more chapters of Berserk were released
Okay.
by the team of the author because they want to actually continue and finish the series. Basically, the team that was working with the now deceased author for a long time,
Yeah.
together with, or rather under the supervision of some other author that was a longtime friend of the deceased author. So, and I have to say, so far it looks great. I mean, the art is basically no different from the art when the author was still around. So the team is very good at like drawing it in his style. And the story is, well, it basically stuff happens that I always expected to happen to get the story going again from the point where they are right now. So I'm rather confident that they might actually bring the story to a pretty good end. Maybe a bit quicker than the author would have done originally if he didn't die, but I mean, still good. It's still great that they are able to continue the story in basically in his vision. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
mean, sounds
excited about it.
great that they continue it.
And also, what else? Akane Banashi is great. Read it. It's also super successful. It's a great series with a female protagonist. It's amazing. Also, Felix.
Actually, I need to try something I didn't try and it actually might be funny. I think I may have implemented multi-targeting for all projectiles, including the arrow. Let me just see if that's actually the case.
We don't see you right now.
Yeah, let me...
Okay. Or rather, we see you, but we don't see the game.
Yeah, I've switched it. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't work. Because it automatically is cancelled when you... Okay, never mind in that case. Still, you should be able to do multi-targets with the arrow.
The artist is replaceable in this special case when it's by several other artists who worked with him for many years. So that might be the exception.
Alright, so I guess this concludes our stream. So thanks everybody for watching and hope to see you again next time when we do another stream. And so let's see how far the project will be at that point. What was that?
Oh,
It was tomorrow.
I
Okay.
actually forgot something. We watched Get Out.
All right. Yeah. I missed
Alright,
that.
yeah,
Because
Florian, I did watch
because I
that.
had pain.
And that was a horror movie, yes.
Yeah, I would say it was more thriller than horror, but yes.
That's true.
I liked it. It was really fun.
Yeah,
Like,
that was nice.
Well made.
And as I said in the beginning, I think I watched Doctor Strange. Finally.
You think?
Oh.
Maybe.
And it's good. Yes, I did. And it's good. It was a good movie. And I also Obi-Wan Kenobi is over. It's now over Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I also watched stuff. I finished watching Breaking Bad again, and actually first time watched El Camino, the movie.
Nice. I still need to watch that and Better Call Saul.
El Camino wasn't quite as good as Breaking Bad, I thought. It was
hard,
good.
but I
It
hear
was-
it's a good movie.
Oh, it was okay. It was good.
It was okay.
overall.
But it was not. It was not good enough.
It had a few a bit more stupid moments. It doesn't help that I never liked Jesse as a character quite as much as Walter White, but he had some rather stupid, like some moments I didn't like about this movie, but it's more nitpicking. Honestly, it was still a good movie overall.
It's just because he did some very human things that you didn't like because they were too
he had too much empathy. I hate this.
Yeah.
He should
I
be
hate
like lacking empathy like Walter did.
Walter, you are one of those bros who's like, yeah, Walter White. He's like such an idol, such a
That's a Sigma, man.
such a Sigma grindset man. Okay, I just want to say about Obi-Wan, it was not a very good series for most of the run, but the last episode was okay. It was pretty good. Also watching this Marvel, it's pretty good. Okay.
Oh
that's it.
yes, Ms. Marvel is fun.
It's really good. I mean, I was a bit skeptical in the first and partially second episode because I can't really stand like this very teenage movie, hip with the kids style. But I mean, I didn't think it's bad. It's just a style that annoys me a bit. Because I hate kids, they're stupid. They're stupid kids and they're dumb. Just kidding, but they made it better in the next episodes, and it was a bit less. And also, I really like the cultural thing, how they portray the families of Muslims and stuff, and it's really nice.
They showed a Muslim marriage.
Yeah, that was really nice.
I thought, wow, that's so much fun.
New Leia fan art just in.
Where in the general?
Yeah, in general channel.
That's nice.
Very nice
I'm gonna
one.
watch. Oh, that's a really nice one.
Yeah.
That's cute. Romupand. Okay, I'm gonna need to make sure to retweet. Oh damn it! I posted the thing already.
Yes.
Fuck, we gotta stop.
Now we have to wrap thing. No more movie or series discussion.
Yo!
Stream
We're
is
not
over.
stopping the stream. The stream is over now, and that's okay.
Yeah. So thanks
I'm
everybody
very
for watching.
wise.
Hope to see you again next time. Hopefully with more Terra development. So let's hope the project isn't cancelled until then. Though maybe it has a new name then. I don't know. We will see. So hope to see you again next time. I don't want to wait for this track to end. It's too long. So until then, bye bye.
Bye.
Hannah doesn't say bye. No, Hannah.
Bye. I did say bye. What?
Okay, we're almost there. And bye bye and